no idea. Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to Signing Day 2023 for Clemson University football. From the Allen N. Reeves Football Complex here on the campus of Clemson, South Carolina, we welcome you in here on this first day of February. As you can see, we've got all the signage. We'll hear from all of the coaches, including Coach Sweeney here coming up in about the next hour or so. I am Don Munson, and we are glad to have you on board here with us. We got about a couple of hours worth, at least, of content here for you that we will work our way through. And we're going to get to introduce you to all of the assistant coaches. Obviously, like I said, Coach Sweeney will also visit with us here throughout the show. So a lot of information coming at you for Signing Day 2023. One of the things, though, that we're going to have the privilege of doing, and this will be the first time that I've actually had an at-length conversation with our new offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, Garrett Riley. We welcome him to set first and foremost. You and I just met this morning. Unfortunately, my schedule and your schedule have not coincided, but we got to meet this morning. So this isn't the official welcome to Clemson, but we're certainly glad to have you here.
I appreciate it. No, great to meet you. Great to be here. Everybody's been so welcoming to me and my family, and we're fired up to get started.
Well, I can tell you the Clemson fan base is fired up to have you here. I don't think there's any doubt about that. All right, so I want to start, and I want to kind of start personal background if we can first. I want to go there. You and I were talking just moments ago. All right, so you grow up in the big metropolis of Muleshoe, Texas. So what was it like growing up in Muleshoe, Texas?
Well, naturally, we were the Mules. All right, so you need to know that first. Yeah, it was a great upbringing. You know, about 5,000 people in our town, and it was kind of the true West Texas background. You know, you had agriculture, you had sports, and everybody knew everybody. The town kind of raised you together, raised the kids, and so just had a great experience growing up there.
Football started coming into your life at what age?
Yeah, I didn't start playing football until junior high, and grew up kind of playing every sport. That's one of the benefits of being in a small town and a small school is you get a lot of different experiences that way. And so I was lucky enough to have just great coaches throughout my entire experience there, and they were certainly a big part of probably why I am here today and just what has drawn me to coaching.
When did you realize that football was kind of the love? But you're like probably most young kids. Yes, you played multiple sports, but when did you realize, hey, football now, that's the thing?
I mean, I just truly loved it as a kid. I mean, I had a passion for it early on. My parents were probably fed up with me throwing the football in the house and all those things. So I was pretty consistent that way. But, yeah, I mean, I had a love for it. I didn't know early on that I wanted to coach. That really didn't come until later, but I had a passion for the game at an early age.
All right, so off to high school you go, have a really good high school career, and then you take off. You go to Texas Tech and start your collegiate career there. Play for Mike Leach. I'm going to get into that here in a little bit, obviously with the passing of Coach Leach, unfortunately. But off to Texas Tech you go, and I'm going to guess that's kind of where you even increased your knowledge of the game.
No question. I mean, that was just such a what a great experience. I mean, it was such a unique time, I think, in college football with what he was doing, what Texas Tech was doing at the time, and was very cutting edge at that point in time in the college game. And so it was just such an innovative point of time in football. And so, yeah, I mean, that experience completely drew me into, hey, I think I'd love to do this. I was I was playing for a staff that was doing it a different way. You know, they were kind of carving their own path in the way that they operated and did things. And so Yeah, I was just kind of exposed to a different way of thinking early on, and man, couldn't credit that staff and Mike. Couldn't credit them enough.
You know, everybody always talks about Coach Leach with reverence, and well, they should, because he was just such a brilliant offensive mind. The thing that I loved about it was the simplicity. It seemed like, yes, it was out there, all right? The offense was way different, but it was really kind of a simple offense from everybody that I've ever talked to.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest positives from his system is you could apply it to a lot of different caliber of players. You know, at that point in time, we didn't have the best skill people or the best players in the country at Texas Tech at that time, but yet you were able to be very consistent offensively and in turn put your team in a position to win consistently. And so that was kind of his whole philosophy, is make it simple. Let's let our guys play confidently. Let's let them be able to mass produce things and truly have an identity. And so, yeah, you just learn so much philosophy, and just the way that he thought about the whole program in general was something that I've definitely taken away.
All right, then from there, you transferred over to Stephen F. Austin, played for J.C. Harper, a guy that has Clemson connections, certainly, and did very well there at Stephen F. Austin as well.
Yeah, no, they doing a similar offense there in Nacogdoches, Texas. I was able to be a part of a team that had a nice run going, won conference championship and those things. So Coach Harper did a great job there. And so, yeah, I was able to kind of further my career and get along with or be exposed to different coaches and people that were kind of within the system as well there.
Get your coaching career started on the high school level in Lubbock at Roosevelt High School, I believe it was. So what was that like as far as your first coaching experience?
Yeah, it was kind of a deal where I was able to really just kind of help out with the quarterbacks. The head coach at the time at that school was my defensive coordinator at Muleshoe. And so he was able to kind of allow me to kind of see, you know, is this really what you want to do? And really allowed me to kind of put a foot in the water there, so to speak. So, yeah, that was great to be around young people to really kind of see, is this what I want to do? And it certainly didn't take long for me to figure out that I did.
All right, then you go off to the state of Illinois, and you become a running backs coach at Augustana. So what was that like? All of a sudden now you kind of get your first real kind of coaching experience on a collegiate level and coaching running backs. So tell me a little bit about that experience and what you learned from that.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't do it any other way. I mean, you know, kind of one of two routes generally when you get into coaching at the college level. You go be a GA, go be a young coach somewhere, maybe a little bigger, or you can go to a smaller school route where you probably are going to get a little bit more responsibility. And
right.
So that was the path that I chose. I was lucky enough to get a job there. Didn't know anybody, had zero connections to the school, to the coaches. Just simply applied for the job and I got it. A guy named Rob Cushman, head coach at the time, hired me, and so we ran a triple option sort of offense, so it was very different from my background, which was great for me. Coached running backs there, and you know, here I am, a kid from Muleshoe at, I can't remember how old I was, 22. You know, and I'm recruiting Chicago, you know, a couple weeks later. So it was just, you were really thrown into the fire there, but that's how you learn. And so I had just a tremendous experience there.
All right, brother Lincoln, he joins up with Ruffin McNeil at East Carolina. They give you the call. You go off to East Carolina now to be a GA there, working with your older brother. That had to be, and also Ruffin, obviously, I think that you would work with, obviously, at Texas Tech, or as a player was there at Texas Tech. So that whole chemistry would have to just fall right into line, I would think, for you.
It did. There was a lot of continuity already there. A lot of coaches that I had known knew how they were going to run their system and just how Coach McNeil was going to operate, and he's certainly been, you know, one of the steady mentors for me just throughout my professional career, and so he means a great deal to me.
Stops at Kansas, at Appalachian State, Southern Methodist, obviously, most recently TCU. So as you've been growing in this, that's that's about an 8-year span right there that we're talking about. Just as pieces of the puzzle that you're able to put together that have led you to this point.
I think just being very fortunate. You know, I mean, I've been around really good coaches, good programs, great players. You know, I mean, it always starts there. You know, I mean, they're the reason for everything. And so I've just been very, very lucky and fortunate to be around players that are good people, good situations, And so I think that's just kind of the biggest thing that's probably led to this is certainly them, and then being around coaches that, believe in what we do and like I said, just great teammates and sort of those things. So, yeah, I think just the biggest thing is just very, very fortunate.
So that leads me to the question of why. Why Clemson? Why here, this place at this time?
Well, I mean, there's just no question the amount of consistency that's been here that Coach Sweeney's, developed and built. And so I just think kind of in totality, of where they're at as a program, where it can still go, and then just being able to kind of experience this deal with him, and see how he operates and just how this whole organization and program and the town and the community, I mean, just kind of the whole package just really made sense, and that's what was important to me. It was important to our family that we were going to come into a situation that was like this with as stable as it is and consistent that it has been, on and off the field. That's certainly a big draw to players, and that's certainly a big draw to coaches as well.
All right, the reputation of Coach Sweeney from your side, because I don't think there was a lot of contact previous to him before he finally reached out to you to see if you were interested in coming here to Clemson. So from your side of things, looking in at the Clemson program and looking at what Coach has built here, just give me your thoughts from that standpoint.
Well, I love that he built it his own way. I mean, I really respect that he stayed the course with how he sees it. And he has a lot of conviction about what he does. And so that was a big draw for me just throughout the years as I've watched Coach Sweeney and have watched Clemson. I really respect that. And then, just how he operates. I mean, he does things the right way. He's always going to try and do it by the players first. I mean, everything that he does on a daily basis is because of them, and he puts them at the forefront. And so I just really respect the way, outside looking in, that he's operated throughout all these years as I've been able to follow Clemson and their success. So, yeah, just, man, what a fortunate situation to be around him and to learn from him.
For a 33-year-old guy, though, leaving the situation that you had at TCU, that could not have been an easy decision.
No, it wasn't, and when things like this come along, I'm very thoughtful. I'm going to think things through and not just make an impulsive decision or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, we were in a great situation. My family is all in Texas and all those kind of things. But, man, like I said, you just couldn't pass up the opportunity to do this. It was going to have to be something truly, truly special to get me to leave that place.
All right, so you said when things like this come along, put the story together for me if you don't mind. When did it come along? When did the first contact happen? How long did you and Coach, how many days? I don't know how, just give me the kind of the background of how it all came together.
It all happened pretty quickly. I mean, all this happened after our national championship game, and I'm sure he was thinking about this for a little bit. And so, yeah, I'm glad it all happened after that. You don't want to cloud your mind with any of that stuff going on or anything like that. So, yeah, all this happened after the championship game and kind of took a couple days to really think it through and able to talk with my wife and see what we thought. And so, yeah, took about a couple days, and then it moved very, very quickly from there.
Did he? Obviously, he made first contact. So that opening phone call, the opening salvo that he made to you, and he said, "Hi, this is Dabo Sweeney, the head coach at Clemson. Garrett, I want to talk to you about coming this way." That phone conversation, I know him. It wasn't a short phone conversation. I can guarantee you that. But that first conversation, was that really the thing that set all this in motion? That you realized, hey, all right, yeah, this is something I want to be part of.
Yeah, I just knew that this could be real, and seeing kind of the interest level and allowing him to kind of tell me about the program and what he thought and kind of where he felt like this could go and all those things, right? And so definitely sparked my interest there early on with the initial conversation, and the other conversations certainly led after that.
When you look at the pieces of the puzzle that you do get to work with now here offensively, it starts at quarterback, so you got a Texas kid. And Klubnik, that's going to be, at least right now, goes in as the #1 quarterback. There's always competition. We'll see what happens as we go throughout the spring and then get into August as well. But starting with that one piece with Cade, a guy that can get it done with his arm and also with his feet, I think would play right into your wheelhouse.
I think so, yeah. I joked with Cade. I saw Cade. He was one of the first people I saw when I got here, and I kind of joked with him. I'd recruited Cade for about the last 3 years before he came to Clemson. So I said, well, I didn't know I had to come to South Carolina to coach you. So, no, I'm glad he's here. He's certainly a great player. Know a lot about him. Certainly a lot of history, seeing him through his high school career and at Westlake. And, yeah, I mean, he's certainly a great piece to work with. You know, I feel like I know the kid. I know what his strengths are. And so, I mean, his skill set and his demeanor and his intangibles, I think, are going to fit very well with what we do.
You know, and when you have a quarterback like him, you know, he has unlimited potential. I mean, it's really, I think, is unlimited potential with him. And it's, I guess, with you as the quarterback's coach and offensive coordinator, it's all about setting him up and giving him the best situation possible to make the easy decisions and make the easy plays.
Yeah, I mean, you just want consistent quarterback play, right? And so if you can make it simple for them and they can make routine decisions at a high rate, most of the time they're probably going to make routine plays. And I think it kind of starts there. And I think with his background, the way he's been coached, you know, coming from a winning culture in high school and growing up, I mean, just all those things are right there for him. But, yeah, I mean, that's what's going to be exciting, to kind of work through those things with him, with this system, and putting him in those positions to allow his playmakers to make plays, right? I mean, we're at Clemson. He's going to have people around him. He's going to have a supporting cast. You know, all these quarterbacks are. And so I think that's what's exciting, is you're going to allow those guys to kind of really distribute the football and let those guys make plays.
All right, the plans for implementing the system. You'll get 15 practices in the spring. One of those is being the spring game that will happen on April the 15th. So as you go about, just how do you go about, what's the plan of putting this together, of building this thing? Because you can't just throw everything on the table at once.
Yeah, it's totally a gradual process, you know, and we're going to go slow. We're not going to throw too much at them to where, you know, we're sitting there thinking every single day and you kind of have all these mental roadblocks going on. I mean, it's going to be very, very simple and, you know, just kind of make this a gradual process that it needs to be. But like I said, I can't wait to get going. We'll kind of start throwing stuff at them here in probably about 2 weeks and getting them primed and ready for spring football.
When you look at this, when you look at the wide receiving core, when you look at the running backs, tight ends, there's skill that is at all of that. So, you know, when we look at this in the spring, when we get to the spring game, I mean, how much of this are we actually going to see installed, or is it going to be, all right, yeah, this is the starting point. We get all summer, we get all August before we have to get to that first game on Labor Day night, by the way, on the road at Duke before we open all this stuff up. So how much will we actually see here early on with all of this?
It just kind of depends on you know, how well these guys pick it up early on. You know, if I feel like we can kind of continue the process, then we will. But if we've got to slow down and kind of do it step by step, then we're certainly going to do that. But a lot of the bare bones are going to be thrown in at them. You know, kind of the true parts of what we do, they're all going to be doing. You're going to see that in spring football. And then we'll just kind of see where this grows from there, you know, and kind of what we have, and allow, you know, me and the rest of our coaching staff to kind of exactly see how these guys fit and what we do well. You know, I mean, our offense is going to be different here at Clemson than it was at TCU. It's the same every year. You're going to take on a little bit different identity depending on who you have. And so that's going to be the fun part for us as coaches. Would
I be mistaken to assume that there's a lot more that needs to really go on with offensive line? I mean, everybody wants to talk skill players. I mean, chicks dig the long ball. I get that, all right? I understand all of that. But the offensive line now, they kind of set the tone, because those are the guys up front that have to give you the time to implement and run this thing.
Oh, yeah, they're totally the key. They're the starting point. You know, I mean, we're going to rely on them. You know, I know we have good players there. Got some developmental players that we're excited about coming into spring. And so, yeah, I mean, they're certainly the biggest part of this. With what they can do well, that's going to kind of set our offense up. And so I'm excited to see that group and excited to see Coach Austin in action and get them cranked up front.
All right, last question for you is, in the signing class, we got a quarterback that's coming in Christopher Fazina. What do you see? What do you like about him that you see coming in?
Yeah, I was able to watch Chris at different stops that I've been on, so I'm familiar with him, familiar with his tape and him coming out of high school and everything. But he's just, man, he's very skilled. You know, I mean, this guy's polished. He, you know, but I think he's one of those guys that is very calm. You know, I think he's got a great demeanor about him, which I'm excited to kind of actually work with him and really, you know, get to kind of see his personality come out that way. But I love the way that he just kind of plays with the consistency, that he doesn't try to press and make too much happen. You can just tell this guy's in control and he's poised.
Well, we're looking excited to get to know you, wife Lindsay, Grayson Gibson, the two young boys. I hope that they're fired up about being here in South Carolina. You're going to love it. I'm just telling you right now, you think that you already like it. You're going to grow to love this place. It is different. There is something about Clemson. There is something that is very true about Clemson family. I think you already know that, but you're going to get ingrained into it even more and more. Really excited to have you here and really looking forward to getting to work with you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, there you go. Garrett Riley is our new offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. So that kicks us off here on our signing day show here for 2023. We're going to work Wes Goodwin into the chair, and we'll talk with him a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. Like I said, we're going to chat with each and every of the assistant coaches as we work. But a good conversation there with Garrett Riley, and good just to meet him for the first time and kind of get him in front of the Clemson faithful. Of course, there's another press conference that will be coming up later on this afternoon that he will be part of as well. So you'll get to hear more of that. That'll be at 1:30 this afternoon, and I believe that will also be streamed live here right now where you're watching all of this on Clemson Plus. So and glad to have you with us, by the way, here on Clemson Plus, and you can download the Clemson Athletics app, and all of that is right there available, all free for you here today as we do all of this. As we welcome in Wes Goodwin, our defensive coordinator. And Wes, good to see you, brother. Glad to have you. I know this is a great day for Clemson. I know we did most of this obviously back in December, but a good day here as we celebrate the signing day.
Most definitely. So unbelievable class, and excited to get these guys on campus, and great fit for our program. Unbelievable young men, and can't be more excited.
All right, as we just talked on there with Garrett, the two coordinators now, they got to work together. So how have you all started to blend so far together? Most people don't think, all right, offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball have to blend together, but you do. You have to complement one another.
Yeah, most definitely, and really hadn't had time to sit down, shoot. We've been in the rat race of recruiting the last few weeks, so we've talked a couple different times and stuff, but couldn't be more excited to get to work with him on a daily basis and play complimentary football around here.
All right, let me talk to you just a little bit about some of the guys that you have coming in this class. We'll start with D. Creighton, a guy at linebacker. What do you like about D?
Yeah, I like his size, his athleticism, his leadership skills, instincts, and he works extremely hard. Character fit, and excited to get him here this spring and get him going.
Jamal Anderson is another good. Now, he obviously has pedigree. Dad played in the National Football League. You hope that maybe he's got some of that trotter in him. His dad, obviously, Jeremiah's dad playing in the league. But I know you're very excited about having Jamal here also come to town.
Yeah, definitely. His length, athleticism, his speed, ability to play in space, it separates him. And another great young man who's really a character fit as well. And he's here and ready to get rolling.
How important is it that he's already here, that you have kids that are already here on campus? Because to me, it's almost like an extra redshirt year. You get them to go all the way through spring ball. They get to go through the summer. They get to the August camp, and it's almost like, all right, they've been here. They kind of know what's going on.
Most definitely. We don't push guys to be mid-years, leave it up to them. But it does let them get a head start. They get the installation 3 to 4 times versus guys that come in the summertime. And guys looking to come in and play early, it's huge for those.
Your room, though, pretty stacked now when you take a look at what you're going to be going through here this spring. I mean, when you take a look particularly at what you got coming back, you got a lot of talent that's in that room.
Yeah, definitely. Those guys are fun to coach and be around on a daily basis, and I'm honored to be their coach. They work extremely, extremely hard. Very unselfish, great leaders, well-respected throughout this building and through this campus, and they're a lot of fun.
Well, no doubt. Jeremiah Trotter, obviously Barrett Carter, the two lead horses that are probably in your room. Tough to find better athletes probably at their position, and maybe even tough to find even better players, not only just here on this campus, but anywhere in college football.
Most definitely. Those two, that's the prototype for linebackers in today's world, and it's a space game. Guys that can run, especially when you get dudes up front like we recruited in this class, and those guys that cover them up and let them run sideline to sideline.
Obviously, the emergence of Wade Woodaz also in his freshman campaign was I thought pretty spectacular. The young man came in and he picked it up right away and gave you excellent minutes.
Yeah, most definitely. Kind of unfortunate he couldn't play more with Trenton and Barrett and Jeremiah kind of in front of him, but he maximized his opportunity, went out there and made plays whenever his number was called.
And he was a guy that you moved around. I mean, as a defensive coordinator, when you can move a guy back and put him back in the defensive secondary a little bit, he has great speed, he's got coverage skills, he's got knowledge.
Most definitely. Position versatility is what I like to call it. Guys that can play multiple positions. Barrett Carter's the same way. Shoot, he could go start at free safety. He could play nickel, obviously, like he did this year, and Mike or Will in the box. And the more guys can do, the more valuable they are.
TJ Dudley is another name. We saw him just a couple of times into the year. You knew you were going to redshirt him, so you could only play him 4 games. But this is a guy I think that's I love the upside and really excited to see what this young man is going to be able to do here in 2023.
Most definitely. Tremendous upside with him, and he's been working extremely hard. Looks great in the weight room. Really instinctual. Came in, just has put his head down and worked every day, and really unselfish, and expect great things out of him this year and the years to come.
Give me a key maybe for the spring for the defensive side of the ball. What's one of the things that you really wanted to see your group concentrate on, not just your linebacker, but the whole defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, details, discipline, fundamentals, technique, get back to the basics. I feel like we can take a major stride in those areas with all the young guys that we had, especially replacing the entire back 7 this year. And the challenges with that, just guys getting the details and fundamentals and getting the little things down.
There's always a challenge each and every spring. I mean, that's the world of college football. There's always a challenge. Great to visit with you, and looking forward to another exciting season here coming up. All right.
Thanks, Donnie.
All right, there you go. Wes Goodwin, our linebacker coach, defensive coordinator with us here on set. From Wes, we're going to go to Kyle Richardson and bring in our passing game coordinator and tight ends coach as well. So we'll get the headset here on Kyle here in short order. Once again, we're with you here on Clemson Plus. Free streaming for you today. Don't forget that you can download the Clemson app on your phone, not only for Clemson Plus items. Now, Clemson Plus, obviously, a benefit of being a member of IPTAY, so we want you to make sure that you do join IPTAY because that's a big portion of support, obviously, for Clemson Athletics. So if you're not an IPTAY member, we would encourage you to make that donation and dip in there and take advantage of all the membership benefits that come with being a member of IPTAY. As we welcome in Kyle Richardson, passing game coordinator, tight ends coach. All right, so you get a new offensive coordinator that you're going to be working with. I'm going to guess it's a little bit like what I was just talking with Wes. There's been so much going on with recruiting. I don't know how much time that you've got to spend with Garrett.
First off, just want to say that, we've got a new system coming in, but like Coach Streeter, he just gave his heart and soul to Clemson football, and I just appreciate, all the hard work and effort that he put into the program. But, moving forward and looking to the future, like I'm super excited about the system and the direction that we're going. I've been in, for 13 years, that was the system that I was in. And learned it from, Coach Mummy and his son, Matt, 13 years ago. So, Coach looked at me and said, "You're about to be a pig in mud." And I've been the pig in mud. So it's been fun and exciting. But, no, we haven't talked much ball when he got here. We all left the next day and went on the road for the last 2 weeks recruiting. So we'll get a little bit of time off here after today. And then we'll jump in with both feet and jump in that mud together.
You'll be actually the month of February, obviously a dead period as far as recruiting.
Right.
But for staff now, because you're planning, we'll get things started on March the 6th with spring practice. Yep. So month of February is going to be really busy.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is it's not a very complicated system. It doesn't have a lot to it. It's all about repping for greatness. And in order to rep for greatness, you can't have a lot of stuff to do. And that's the beauty of it. So we got plenty of time to get it in. We got plenty of time to get in with coaches and get it in with the kids. And then from there, we'll just go into spring ball, have some fun with it, and start repping it and getting better at it.
All right, let's talk about your room, tight ends. I know that you got to be very excited with what you got coming back and what you're also adding to this class.
You know, first off, the tight end room was just from top to bottom. They were a great group of guys to work with last year. You know, I've said it before. They accepted. You know, I was their third tight end coach in 3 or 4 years.
Right.
So they accepted me, and you know, I was going to carve it up and coach it a little bit different, and we all jumped in together, and I mean, we had a great year. I just went to Senior Bowl practice yesterday and saw Davis down in Mobile.
He's having a great.
Yeah, he's everybody, all the scouts are just talking about how well him and KJ both have done in interviews, and then at practice they were killing it. So going to miss him, going to miss Luke, but what we got coming back is really special too. Brenny took another step last year, and now he gets to take another step into a different type of leadership role and being that guy. And then Sage didn't play as much last year as he did the year before, but he didn't have an off season with having both knees, you know, injury on both knees. He did nothing in the spring, and then in the summer he was still limited in what he could do in his lower body. So I'm really excited about what he's going to bring to the table. He looks unbelievable right now, having a great off season. And then you got Sapp, who redshirted last year, and Sapp has got a ball skill set that you know, it's you're born with it. And he's not the biggest guy in the room or the tallest guy in the room, but man, he can. I love what he brings to the table. All three of those guys are bringing something different to the table, and that's what you got to have in a tight end room. And you got to have depth, because we know that season's going to build up, especially when we want to play 15 games. And that season and those reps are going to build up on you, and you got to have guys that can go in there and not miss a beat.
Yeah, Sapp is one of those guys that brings a little basketball skill to the tight end position, if you know what I'm talking about.
That's
but
right.
you know, you got to have hands, you got to know how to place your body, all that kind of stuff. Tell me a little bit about Olsen, Pat Henry, and also about Marcus Dixon, who are coming in.
Yeah, you know, when I jumped on the road, I was a little bit behind. Tony had offered one guy at that point, and then still was kind of warming up some other guys. So when I jumped in, everybody was kind of gone. You know, you looked at some of those top guys in the country, and they had already committed other places. So I just jumped in fresh and looked at the whole board again and looked at some guys and found these two. And, you know, both of them are extremely athletic. Both of them come from great families. Both of them were leaders on their team, played multiple sports. And they're just a great culture fit for us, but they're going to be big-time players for us too. When you turn on the tape of those two, it's crazy what you see. Olsen just won a state championship down in Naples, and Marcus is coming from the same school as Kyle Pitts. So you're talking about some guys that know what it takes and what it looks like, and I'm really excited to get them in the room. You know, we have 5 scholarship guys, tight ends, that are in the room year in, year out. So they'll be the other 2 that come in with those 3 we just talked about, and then we got a great room all together in, you know, Banks and Blackston and Bat, and really excited about where the future of this room is going.
We took Kyle with us on the road with us for a basketball game.
Loved
we went to
every
Virginia
minute of
Tech with us, and we got a road win. We need to bring you back on the road. You brought us some good luck. You need to come back on the road.
You know, I love basketball, and I love what Coach Brownell does over there. So my wife had been telling me for years, you got to go, and it just never matched up schedule-wise. So this matched up, and man, they couldn't run me out of the building. I was everywhere. I was in you in Tim's. I was in y'all's mess, but it was just fun to see a different side of it and how they prepare.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Coach Brownell let me send the meetings and stuff like that. So I left that trip. I went on that trip as a fun trip, but I left that trip and came back and said, man, those are some things that I can do with my guys, or I can do with our offense or whatever, even on the road recruiting. You know, so I got some nuggets from them too.
Travel's just a tad easier with basketball than it is with football.
That one bus and really small plane, I was like, where's the rest of the travel crew? What are we doing here?
That is exactly right.
It was fun to see them win. That was a big time environment and a big win.
Amen to that. Hey, looking forward to a great year from you and Clemson football here in 2023.
Thank you.
All right, there you go, Kyle Richardson. visiting with us. All right, so up next will be our wide receiver coach, recruiting coordinator, and that'll be Tyler Grisham. So we'll get Grish up here and put a headset on it. You know, one of the great things with my job is something just like that. Every now and then you'll get a coach from another sport that will travel with you in something else. So having Kyle with us on the road for a basketball game was really a lot of fun. I mean, sometimes you see a football coach, and I didn't even realize he was traveling, but you see a football coach, you get on the plane, and there he was, and settle in. And like I said, things that you can always learn from all of these coaches. And certainly I know that Coach Brownell and the gang didn't have a good night last night in Boston. Got a chance coming up, though, to redeem that at home here Saturday against Miami at 3 o'clock. So we'll see if we can get that done. Here's another guy. We'll bring Tyler Grisham on, a recruiting coordinator and wide receivers coach. A little basketball in your background as well, right?
Oh, man, very, very little.
Very little?
Anybody's watching this right now and knows my game, they're laughing. I was a try-hard guy. The problem is I was quick enough and fast enough to get open, but that was the problem is I'd get open and have to shoot, and I didn't finish very well.
That's all right.
Yeah.
All right, so let me talk to you about recruiting coordinator. Let's put that hat on first. This class coming in, that you're very excited about already the guys that are here on campus.
Absolutely. No, I mean, we have a phenomenal class, a large class, as everyone's aware. Our largest mid-year class we've ever had, which is phenomenal to get them on campus and have them get with the guys. And from everything we're hearing, this is probably the closest knit group of mid-years we've had. And everyone is really impressed with them, professional. They're already leaders. And so, man, we are pumped about this class, offense, defense, special teams. Man, we're going to be special, and they're going to help us continue to improve and excel and get back to where we want to be. So, man, we're excited.
Let's talk about some of the new guys at wide receiver then for you. We'll start with Noble Johnson, already a guy that comes in. He looks the part now.
He does, man. He does. We were looking for a big frame guy that could run and was physical, and I watched a lot of tape, and I went out to Rockwall and got to see him live and move around. I came back and told our staff, we got to get him to campus, and he showed up without an offer and performed in camp and really impressed Coach Sweeney, myself, and others, and put on a show, and so he's a big body guy that can really run. But what's probably the most impressive thing about him is he can really sink his hips. I mean, he's a big guy that can get in and get out of breaks. He comes from a great program at Rockwall with Coach Brooks and has a great trainer in Coach Hooks. And man, he is a polished guy, good hands. Man, he's a committed guy. And I think one thing that I'm pumped about is this whole class. I'm probably going to repeat myself a few times, man, but they're tough. I mean, they're tough. He's a willing blocker on the perimeter, takes pride in that. And so he's my lone scholarship mid-year guy here now. So he's grinding with the guys and already doing a fantastic job on and off the field, academically as well. So proud of him.
Ronan Hannafin is going to be a great addition, and the guy that was a recruiting battle. I mean, you had a big recruiting battle, but he finally settled in on Clemson and excited to have him.
Yeah, that's right. Really loved his tape, and when I got on the phone with him and his family, I was blown away. I mean, they are a Clemson family. His dad, Dan, his mom, Angela. Ronan's one of 5 boys. His father's one of 11 children. His dad's the captain of the SWAT team in Boston. I mean, just going back to toughness, there you go, right? So that I was really intrigued by that. They came to campus again without an offer, and man, we offered him on the spot almost. I had already known him for a while from afar, but man, when he came and spent time with us, we were really amazed by his character, by his personality, his persona. I mean, really impressed. And on the field, he's another taller guy, good frame, trim. He's like 205, but man, he looks like he could carry 220 something. But he can really run. Multi-sport athlete. Great at lacrosse. I mean, he played hockey. I mean, all that kind of stuff in Boston, And but man, yeah, it came down to us in Notre Dame and Irish Catholic family that hey, they chose the Tigers, and they really believe in Coach Sweeney. They believe in our program and what we stand for. And he saw opportunity as well. He saw opportunity to come in and help us on the field and go and compete and make plays. And we really believe he'll do that for us.
A couple of in-state kids that will be coming. Tyler Brown, also Myson Tink Kelly, that's just from right over here at Daniel. I'm always excited when we get South Carolina receivers. I mean, you look at the history now of Clemson football. Kids from in-state have just blossomed here at Clemson.
They have. I mean, you look at last year's class with Antonio Williams and Adam Randall, two guys that I think are going to be stars. Antonio already showed that he is one, and Adam, unfortunately, has had some injuries. But you ask anybody, you've heard it a lot. I mean, he is a guy that is going to be special, And so really proud of those two guys and pumped to have them on this roster and do life with them. And awesome guys off the field as well. And then with Tyler, he's a guy that we watched quite a bit, and man, he put on a show this year for Greenville, and everybody stood on the table and said, hey, you got to get this guy, And so talking about speed, we were talking about his track times, and he's going for a sub 10.7 100. He can run, and he's got wiggle, change of direction. He's not just a track guy. He can play ball, right? And so that's going to be a great addition to the room. With this top end, and also, man, just character. I mean, these guys we're bringing in are Clemson men that you can be proud of to have on this roster. So excited about him. And then Tink, an athlete. He plays offense, defense, special teams. He'll train at wideout. We'll teach him the entire plan, and then he'll also train at some corner because he can do it. And he's a dog. He's a trainer. He loves to work out. I was watching my son Davis play basketball late at night at the Central Rec, and he walks in, about to get a workout in after dinner. So that's the kind of kid he is, man. He's a grinder, and he'll help us as well.
Hey, all the best. Looking forward to watching this group throughout the spring, and then as they develop, getting into 2023. Going to be another banner year for your group, no doubt.
Man. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Tyler Grisham visiting with us, our recruiting coordinator and wide receivers coach. From Tyler, we're going to go over to Mike Reed, our assistant head coach, of course, special teams coordinator, and also coaches up the cornerbacks for us as we come to you here from the Reeves Center here on campus. You may see there's a little construction that's going on here. Paul Journey is getting a little bit of a facelift. We'll talk with Coach Sweeney a little bit about that. Got guests in the room. There you go. You can see some of the construction work that is going on behind us. Obviously, it's one of the first things that you see when you come into this building is Paul Journey that is right to the right as you come through the front door. And if you're lucky enough, you'll get to run into this guy, Mike Reed, who joins us here on set. Good to see you, man. Family good?
Family's great, man. Can't complain.
Good. This is a big day, obviously. We kind of celebrated everything back in December, but as you kind of marinate in it, and we get here to this day, a big day here for Clemson football.
Yes, sir. Great day for us.
And no doubt about it. All right, let's talk. Let's get right into it and maybe talk a little bit. First, let's talk about your room, guys that we have returning. What you're looking forward to in the spring.
Well, we've got basically everybody coming back,
right?
Which is great because we've got a great nucleus of young and old. Sheridan Jones make a decision to come back was very good for us. So we have an elder statesman in the room, Nate Wiggins, who came on in the latter part of the season very well. And then we had some influx of some young guys with some talent, Toriano Pride and Jaden Lucas.
You also add to the class, you Avion Terrell, Brandon Strozier, Shelton Lewis. You got 3 young men that are coming in here that are going to really help out your room.
Tremendously. We had the opportunity of having Shelton with us through bowl practice, so you got a glimpse of what we recruited, live in action, and he was as advertised. Very fast, very twitchy, as I call him, a little pit bull.
To have a guy like that here during bowl practice, that's something that's new, obviously that has happened. But how much of a jump will that give him? I mean, it may be only he got 3-4 practices, something along those lines. But just to have that under his belt, how much of a jump will that give him?
Well, he'll get acclimated with the speed of the game, So, when we go out there for the first practice of spring practice, it's not going to be new for him. He's going to already be a step ahead, And then as far as a learning curve, he's already been in the playbook, watching a little bit of film. So it's going to be very beneficial for him.
What's the improvement that you want to see from your group? What's kind of the points of emphasis for your group here in the spring?
Well, the next step is to be able to take over a game. We had glimpses, and in this game, it's consistency that matters. Usually the most consistent team is probably the one that's going to win. And my guys have to be consistent, from play 1 to play 60, whatever it may be. I'd like to see guys change their body structures, and then act and play more mature, because they are older. And like I said, there's no way we can go back. We got to go forward,
Let me tell you, corner is an island life. I mean, you get maybe 45 plays. You can be good in 43, but it's those two. Man, it is a different. You got to have a different mindset to play corner. You do a great job coaching them up, though. Appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
All right, there you go. Mike Reed here with us on set, and from Mike, we're going to work our way over to Mickey Kahn, of course, is the co-defensive coordinator and takes care of the safeties. So we'll talk a little bit more about the defensive backfield here as we continue to work our way up to the top of the hour. About 10:05 is when Coach Sweeney will kind of come in and take over the program. He'll do his thing on stage there behind us, and then we'll get a chance to visit with him, obviously, here on set as well, as we welcome in Mickey Kahn, our co-defense coordinator and safeties coach. All right, good. You made it through. You've gotten here to the month of February. I would say it's a time to take a deep breath, but as I've been talking with some of the other assistant coaches, not so much. February gets pretty busy with you because you got spring ball right around the corner.
Spring ball, man. We're in the weight room this morning at 6 o'clock.
Oh yeah,
talking about they've been getting after it since we got back. So
it's matter of fact, when I came in, I walked over to the weight room and it was full. I mean, they were getting after it when I got here a little after 7.
Yeah, they started last week and they've been going and getting in there early and getting it done. But yeah, they've been working really hard.
All right, let's talk about spring first of all before we talk about the signees that you're bringing. Well, what do you want to see come forward with your group? Where's the next step that this group can take?
Well, I think maturity. You brought in a whole new group last year, really. Right. Andrew Makuba had come back, but he had been injured most of the year with an ankle, a knee, and an elbow. So I think he ended up missing 3 games on the year. Then we had to play him at corner early on because we were really thin at corner. So he had bounced around to some different spots. So just like to see him mature a little bit more in his spot. Then JP, we got a big nod there with him coming back. So last year was his first year to start. So having that experience helps him. RJ Mickens, really came on as the year went on. So I'm really super excited about him. Tyler Venables just got to get him healthy. He's been banged up, hamstring, pec, just whatever. It's just had to battle through those injuries. So, and then you got Sherrod Colville, who really came on as a true freshman, played this year. So he just gotta learn it and get that experience. And you got Kylan Griffin, who redshirted. He'll come on, have a good spring. So just excited about all those guys. It's going to be good.
Today's game, I mean, we saw out of Clemson a lot more of the 3-3-5 kind of look. So at times you had 3 safeties, or at least we're dropping a linebacker in there to play a little bit of a safety. My guess is just because of the style of the game now, where it's going, we're going to continue to see that.
I think defensively you got to be multiple because you get in a 3 safety look, people want to pound you. You get in a 4 down look, 2 safeties, they want to throw it over your head. So, we got to do a good job disguising. We got to do a better job with that. We got to do a good job mixing up the fronts that we do run and the coverages that we do run. And I think, we replaced pretty much a back 7 last year. I think with the experience that we have right now, we'll be better. Those guys will be better with that and with all the different defenses that we do try to run here at Clemson because we have been so multiple.
All right, going to add 3 pieces of the puzzle here with this signing class. Kylan Webb, Rob Billings, and Khalil Barnes will all come in. 3 young men that I think will be very important pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, those guys can, we'll start with Khalil Barnes. KB is what they call him. So he's right out here at North Oconee High School over in Georgia and can really run, can really cover. like to maybe compare him to a Ryan Carter with size. So, Ryan wasn't the biggest guy, but really good cover guy, really quick. That's what this guy is. He actually played corner in high school and receiver, so he's a multiple athlete, played, player of the year 2 years in a row, and just a phenomenal athlete. I mean, he could go over and play receiver as well. But really good player, good cover guy, good athlete, something that we need. And then Robert Billings, kid out of Milton High School, baller. I think he had 9 interceptions on the year, but broke a record for block kicks and block punts at his high school. So he's a kick block specialist, so excited about that. Real long kid, physical, but a playmaker. And then Colin Webb, extremely long, fast track guy, 10-7, 100-meter guy that can really run. Played both ways. All 3 of these guys played both ways for their high school. All 3 of their high schools were extremely successful, made deep semifinal runs into the playoffs. So, just winners.
And that's what, you mentioned ballers, you mentioned winners. That's all part of the puzzle. That's all part of the pieces that you're looking for when you're recruiting a kid to come here to Clemson.
It is for me. I like kids that can win and understand and have that mentality, and then they come into a program like Clemson where we expect to win too, and that blends very well. And these guys are knocking on my door. They want the playbook. They want film. They want it now, and I love that. And then it gives those older guys an opportunity to get in the film room with them and teach them. And as they're teaching, they're learning. So, you learn from teaching, and it just makes us a really good unit defensively, and especially there with those safeties.
Coach Mickey Kahn joining us here on set. Coach, certainly do appreciate it. Looking forward to a good spring.
All right, thank you, Don.
All right, there you go. Coach Mickey Kahn. From Coach Kahn, we're going to go over to Thomas Austin, our offensive line coach. So we'll start talking about the big guys up front, which obviously are always so vitally important to what you can do offensively, and certainly with a new system coming in under new offense coordinator Garrett Riley. We'll get a chance to talk with Thomas a little bit about this. So, Thomas, we welcome you into the program. Always good to see you. Hope the family is well.
They're well. Yeah, we're glad to be here. Thank you.
Good. All right, so I talked with Garrett a little bit at the opening of the show. Everybody always wants to talk about all the skill guys, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's really the offensive line now that makes this thing go and makes this thing flow.
Well, I think so, but I know I'm a little bit biased. We're excited to get going, excited to start talking ball next week after we get back from a couple of days of vacation. So just in my limited interaction with Garrett, excited about his system and how it's going to help us here at Clemson.
Is there going to be a major transformation of what the offensive line does? Is there going to be a lot to learn in the spring?
Schematically, shouldn't be a lot of changes. I mean, I've watched several of their games, and they run inside zone, they run counter. They run draws, they run screens. So 6-man protection, 5-man protection, that stuff's not going to change. You might formation differently, and the terminology will certainly be different. Our calls may be different. But inside zone is inside zone, and so that's not going to change. So that's good. I mean, that's what he did at TCU. That was his top run. It's been our top run, and so I think that'll help us.
All right, let's talk about the kids that are coming in. Ian Reed, Harris Sewell, Zach Owens. Tell me a little bit about these 3 young men.
Well, first and foremost, great kids, great families. That was an emphasis for us, was finding the right fit. All kids, value their education, work hard in the classroom. They're all big. We wanted to get bigger. I mean, that was been a point of emphasis. They come from winning programs. They know how to win. They know how to compete. They know what it takes to be successful. And they all have position flexibility, meaning they can play multiple positions, which gives you options. At the end of the season, Marcus Tate got hurt. Have a guy like Mitchell Mays, who on paper was our backup right tackle, slide into left guard and did a great job for us down the stretch. So the more of those guys you can sign, the better.
All right, so you talk about that. To me, that has always been one of the elements here at Clemson on offensive line, and it goes back to Coach Caldwell, is the cross-training. I don't know that you see that a ton at other schools as much as you do here at Clemson. How much of a point of emphasis is that for you as an offensive line coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's an emphasis. I mean, I think for us, philosophically, you got to put the best 5 on the field. And so it became evident to us about a week into training camp that Blake Miller was one of our best 5 players. And so, okay, what's the option? You don't want Walker Parks on the bench. And so Walker was excited about bumping into guard and obviously having Will Putnam bump into center, to give yourself your best 5. So, we want to cross-train. You want a guy, especially young guys, they get here, they're going to play a position and learn the offense, especially the first half of spring practice. But as you get into it, you got to mix and match groups a little bit to see who your best 5 are. And, you have an idea where you think they might start, but they might end up being a better player at a different position. And so we cross-train individual, we cross-train throughout practice to give ourselves that flexibility. And then when you look at the NFL, they only dress 7 offensive linemen.
Right.
And so unless you're one of those starters, you got to be able to play. You got a guy that can play tackle. You got 3 guys that can snap the ball, and so. It prepares our guys for the next level. And that Jordan McFadden is a tremendous player for us. He doesn't have the ideal length at left tackle the NFL is looking for. He's going to have to play guard or center. And so the fact that he's done that here in practice and some of that stuff, I think will help him.
All right, so give me a look ahead into the spring. All right, you mentioned Blake Miller. All right, so there's a great question out there that probably people, is he going to stay at right tackle? Are you going to move him over to the left tackle? Is the center going to stay the same? Is Walker Parks going to go back out? Are you trying to figure all that out right now?
Well, Walker's going to miss time, as far as Marcus as well with ankle head injuries,
Okay.
head surgery. So they're going to be out for the spring. Putnam staying at center. But we'll cross-train Blake, certainly, right tackle, left tackle. You got Tristan Lee and Colin Sadler are both also competing. We're going to want to compete for that left tackle spot. Mitchell's going to kind of probably start at guard, but can play tackle for us as well. So, we'll be mixing and matching throughout the spring. John Williams is playing tackle for us, but he can also play inside. And so, I think we have guys that can play multiple positions, which is good.
All right, when you have 2 guys missing like that throughout the spring, to me that's all right. They're missing, but you know what you have in them. There's no doubt that you know what you have in them. But it gives opportunity now for somebody else to step up and shine.
Yeah, certainly. Walker wanted to go through camp. He doesn't like missing practice.
No, not
Walker.
You know
him. But yeah, a guy like, because Will Putnam, for instance, when we start getting into competitive stuff and do a lot of our scrimmages, he'll probably be on a hit count because we know what he can do. We got to find the next couple guys. And so it really kind of forces your hand in that you're going to have to play young guys and get experience. And we go against great defensive linemen every day, which gets us ready. You saw our group last year, the first 2 deep on our defensive line were starters anywhere. So it doesn't matter if you're the 1 or the 2, you're getting reps against good players. We'll try to kind of set 5 and let them go through the first half of spring, and then we'll start mixing and matching groups the second half of spring as we get into it.
I'm going to bring up the 5-letter word COVID, all right? And I don't like bringing up that word, but it affected probably your group more so than anybody from a high school standpoint, because you had a couple of guys as offensive linemen that basically lost a year because of COVID. Didn't get to play football.
Yeah.
So, how much do you feel like that kind of set them maybe back a little bit? Or in some ways, did it help them because it didn't give them wear and tear on their bodies?
Well, I certainly think it set them back. They're young. The wear and tear, I think they recover quickly. But when you look at Tristan Lee, you look at Ryan Linthicum.
Right.
Both of those guys missed their entire senior year. And so that was my conversation with them after the season was, hey, I know you're going into year 3. You need to feel a sense of urgency, but you also need to be realistic knowing that last year was basically your redshirt year. Tristan missed, went 18 months basically without playing football. So you got to play the game to get better in our weight program and all that. So I think those guys, even though we have a little bit of new scheme going in, they're going to be so much further along developmentally than they were. So I think physically and mentally it affects you. It kind of sets you back. And then a guy like John Williams, who had a knee surgery last year. He missed a whole year.
Right.
And so Dietrich Pennington missed a whole year for surgery. You got a guy like Trent Howard who got COVID last year, then he got mono, and so he missed a whole offseason. So guys like that, will definitely benefit from staying healthy and getting a bunch of reps this spring.
Aren't you glad you don't have to play anymore? You just get to coach them. You don't have to go through all this stuff.
I'm glad I don't have to do match drills. Yeah, it's way better on this side of it. Yeah.
All right. Hey, good to visit with you, Thomas. Appreciate all you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, there you go, Thomas Austin, our offensive line coach. We'll talk with our running backs coach, C.J. Spiller. We're going to give him the headset here coming up as we continue to work our way through. Again, at the top of the hour, coming up about 10:05, as a matter of fact. fact, that would be 7 minutes from now, so I don't know if we're quite going to make 10:05, but we'll have Coach Sweeney on here coming up here after we got CJ, we got Lemansky Hall, and got Nick Eason to knock out before we'll get to Coach Sweeney. But we're putting the headset on CJ Spiller right now, our running backs coach. All right, so we have him all settled in. Good to see you. You doing all right?
It's good to be seen, Don.
I know that you're probably relieved to come off of the road recruit. I don't know. I say that. Are you relieved to come off the road recruiting, or do you like being on the road recruiting?
I love recruiting. I love going out and meeting coaches and getting eyes on some prospects and stuff like that. But at the same time, I have a soon-to-be one-year-old son at the house that I truly, truly enjoy spending time with. So I would probably say that was probably the toughest part, just missing those 2 weeks with him. Kind of seeing him here and there, but normally he sleep when I'm leaving and sleep when I'm coming home. So this little break we getting ready to get, I'm looking forward to it.
Good enough. All right, Jay Haynes, Jarvis Green, both coming in as running backs for you in the signing class. Tell me a little bit about them.
You start with Jay Haynes. Just a guy that's just very productive. Went to Auburn, ran 4.4, and they let that guy get out the state. So I'm excited about him. Great family with his mom, Natasha, and his dad. They call him Red. And then his little brother, DJ. Just a great family. Very humble kid, very quiet, but got that quiet, competitive spirit about him. Very confident in what he does. You're talking about a guy that almost broke the single game rushing record in the state of Alabama with almost 500 yards rushing. And I don't care what level it is, that's a lot of yards running. So I'm excited about him, but just a great kid. I was just telling someone every week he sends me a clip of him dunking on somebody. So that shows you the explosiveness that he has as an individual. But I think he's very eager to get here and learn from the two oldest men in the room, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to coach him.
Talk about your room and the fact that you've got some dudes now that are returning for you in the room to work through the spring with.
Yes, I do. And I think that was kind of always been the tough part for us because we done had some great ones that's been in there. And now you talk about the two Oldsmen. I call them in the room with Will Shipley and Phil Marfa. And those guys are excited about this new opportunity that we have here as an offense. And we know what those guys can do, what they bring to the table. I think Phil's is very poised for a big offseason, a big jump from year 2 to year 3. Obviously, Shipley's always eager to learn and get better as an individual and just really the heartbeat of this team, just the way that he goes about his business. So I'm excited. You got some young guys with, Keith Adams that's coming along, just a very tough runner. You got Dominique Thomas, Quatzilla, that's in there, that's eager to take a big jump this spring. All those guys do a tremendous job, and then you add these two incoming freshmen with Jay and Jarvis. It's going to be awesome. So I'm excited, and, to talk about, Jarvis. Kid that's up the road at Dutch Fort. Every time you turn on the tape, it's just productive. Two totally different guys. I think, Dutch Fort probably used Jarvis more in the passing game than what Hanley did with Jay. So he can catch the ball very well, but he can also run it. So I'm excited about him, and the same thing. His mom, Natasha, and dad, Eric, wonderful family, very competitive family, always talking trash to each other. So I just love being around that family every time I get a chance because they kind of just get my competitive juices going just because of the trash talking that's going back and forth amongst each other. So couldn't ask for two better guys that's coming into our room with those two.
Something tells me with the offensive philosophy that Coach Riley's going to be bringing in here, as a running back, you better be able to catch the ball. Yes. You better be able to run the ball, though, as well. It is a run-first offense, but you better be able to catch that ball.
Yeah, that's one of the requirements. And, that as a running back, I think you should always be ready to catch the football, no matter what the offense that you're in. Because, that just adds value to your game, and that just makes you more lethal as a player. So, both of these guys that's coming in, they do a great job of catching the football. And I'm excited to get started with them. I know they're eager to get over here this spring and sit with us in some meetings and catch some practices with us.
All right, there you go. Some thoughts from CJ Spiller. Always good to see you, brother.
It's always great to see you, Don.
All right, there you go. Our running backs coach. From there, we will move over, talk a little defensive ends with Lemansky Hall as we'll bring him in to the show. He's got a great group of guys that will be coming in this recruiting class. A great group of guys to continue to work with, though, as well throughout the spring here on the Clemson campus as we get him all settled in and mic'd up. Now, see, first and foremost, I love that you show up in your college football playoff stuff, because I know that's not a goal. Right. That's not one of our stated goals. But, man, when you see that logo, that's what Clemson football is about now.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
got to get there.
Love all that. All right, so let's talk real quickly about the guys that you coming in. I want to start with Ojebwe, and that's the way that I've been told you say his last name, David Ojebwe. Let's start right there. What do you see in this young man?
Oh, I see a guy that really works his tail off. He's physical, does a good job, just attacking the ball. Gives great effort. He fits our program. Great young man. From a great school, they've won championships. So we're bringing in a kid here that understands how important it is to win games.
A.J. Hoffler comes out of Stuart, Florida, and he looks like the real deal.
Yeah, he is. He is, man. He, again, another young man that works his butt off to be great. He's a smart kid, understands the game. It's one of those things where, when I first saw him, I was like, this kid got an opportunity, got a chance. And he was recruited highly from everybody. And I'm excited to get him here and to be a part of this program.
And then Tamarion Parker, TJ, is what he goes by. So he comes out of Phoenix City, Alabama. Clemson's done pretty well in Phoenix City, Alabama with kids now.
No doubt. And I'm really excited about TJ as well. He's here already. He's doing a good job in the classroom, on the field, learning our system, doing all those things that we look for in the young man. And he's again, another guy that can come in and play right away.
I've talked with a couple of other coaches that already have guys that are here on campus and being able to go through. As you see it, from a defensive end standpoint, that's a big, physical position. The advantage to having him here before he gets to August and being able to go through what he's going to go through.
Right. I think it helps that he get an opportunity to get into the weight room, be around our veteran players, just understand what it takes. Some of those guys, what they went through when they were mid-years, and the classroom and all those things, which is helping TJ right now to get prepared for it.
All right, when you look at also in the spring and your room, again, you got some guys that are coming back. Right. Xavier Thomas being one of those guys. Got to keep him healthy, obviously, but there's a reason that he decided to come back, and hopefully he'll get a full season, and we'll see what XT can really be throughout a full year.
Yep, really excited about XT. Last year he did a great job preparing himself for the season. Hopefully, with some prayers, man, that he can stay healthy, get him back on the field, and let him do what he's very capable of doing.
Yeah, the thing to watch him battle through what he had to go through last year. There were a lot of times that I would come in at lunch and I'd be working out, and he would be in there. He'd be in there working out and getting after it. He just, to me, I think his mental side of his game improved as much as anything this past year. Is that he got his, I'm not saying his mind was wrong, but his mind is really right now.
Yes, so he really started to get his mindset like he wants to train like a pro. Everything that he did was a pro mindset. And, I've always said if Xavier Thomas can get out of his own way, the sky's the limit for him. And I truly believe that. I believe in Xavier. I trust him, and this is going to be a great year for him.
The other thing is maybe we need to brag on the guys that are there in that weight room, because Joey Batson and his staff, they did a tremendous job with XT, but they do a tremendous job with everybody.
Yeah, you got to give them the guys their props, man. They do a really good job, and all the guys, I've watched them. They look good. The body looks fit. They look stronger, they look bigger, and they're moving well. So we're looking forward to get started at spring practice.
Justin Maskell is another guy. He decided to come back. He's just going to be a steady guy for you, and I think there's a little bit more still in Justin to be shown.
Oh, no doubt. I'm excited about Justin as well. He's been a starter for us, so he's not a rookie. The guy's played a lot of football, and the sky's the limit for him as well.
The other younger kids that you had here on campus, Denhoff is one of those names I think that people are, all right, is this a guy that can make a move this year?
Yeah, when I think about that group, so you got Denhoff, you got Zaire Patterson, you got Greg Williams. It's a bunch of young guys, and then you add Jaheim Lawson to that group, Armand Mason. It's a bunch of them. They all going to get an opportunity to have a great spring and contribute to this team. And we're looking forward to that. You know, you got guys that sit around there waiting for that chance. Now they get a chance to do it, and I'm excited to see them.
Somebody's going to be a surprise. I mean, there's always going to be somebody that's going to step up and be a surprise.
That's
and
right.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this spring. Lemansky, good to visit with you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Lemansky Hall. Next, we'll bring in Nick Eason, our defensive run game coordinator and also coach of the defensive tackles, which you could argue is maybe the deepest spot that is on this Clemson football team. And it all started with Tyler Davis announcing that he was going to come back, and so we'll put him on headset and get him his thoughts to see what he has to say about his group at defensive tackle. We're ready to let him lock and load. Wait, they're going to do one more thing to you, brother. We got to make sure that Nick Eason is looking good. We want him to look smooth and look good.
After all these years, I think that you're like getting younger. The skin looks good.
I appreciate you saying that. I'm going to be 61 here in a couple of weeks.
I've been watching you in the weight room. You've been looking at yourself in the mirror, and you deserve to be able to do that. So you've done a good job of taking care of yourself.
Boy, I haven't lost as much poundage as you have now. You're getting slim. You're getting new wardrobe. You get everything now.
I'm down 57 pounds. I know it don't look like it, but I'm down 57. I got 40 more to go. So, to all my fans that were sending the oatmeal pies, I did not eat them. I got sent 600 oatmeal pies to the facility over a joke that I made on Twitter. But anyways, I'm just glad to be here. I'm thankful to God to be here. I'm thankful to my parents who made a lot of sacrifices because I didn't get here by myself. And so I wanted to make sure I said that. And thanks to all the prayers and many people that have poured into me from high school and just being here at Clemson as a freshman. Bob Mahoney, him and his wife have been parents to me forever, still are to this day. And so I'm just truly grateful for you and everybody else here at Clemson University that helped mold me into the man that I am today. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, dude, I can tell you, we're glad to have you back for 1 year. Now we're looking forward to year 2.
Yes,
all right, let's talk about the kids that you add to the room first before we talk about the guys that are already in the room. Peter Woods, Vic Burley, Stefan Green.
Yes.
I mean, these are 3 dudes now. These aren't just players.
Nah,
these are dudes.
These are dudes. I generally go out on the recruiting trail. I'm looking for smaller versions of myself. But these are bigger guys. But I want them to have that mentality. I want them to understand what our culture is about. In the days of NIL, man, I don't get caught up into that. I want you to choose Clemson because you love our culture. You love our Paul Journey, our program that helps our young men develop their lives to be better men when they leave here. And I want you to love the game day atmosphere, our facilities, the same reasons why I chose Clemson. And these guys chose Clemson because of those reasons.
Well, you take a look, you just watch their film. I mean,
Yes.
it's just astonishing some of the stuff that you see on film.
Absolutely, man. All of them very versatile, can play across the line of scrimmage, very violent, very physical at the point of attack. All of them got pass rush ability. And so, man, I'm really excited to watch them play. They are great men who come from great families. Just very proud of everything they've done thus far. They've made it. They're all mid-years, so they're already here. And so they've done a really good job these first weeks of school, just working out in the weight room. And I'm not only excited, but the people and academics in the training room, I've heard nothing but good things about them from every department, that has hands in on football.
Well, the 3 of them already being here on campus, not only being coached up by you, but being coached up by the guys that are in your room. And you look at those guys that are in your room.
Yes.
Now, it may be the best group of defensive tackles. Forget about the Atlantic Coast Conference, but in college football.
Absolutely, man. I'm just truly excited, obviously, to get Tyler Davis and Ruka back, this year. Those are 2 guys that could have left and went to the NFL draft this year, but decided to stay. And give me another opportunity, man, to continue to develop them as players. Then you got young guys like Trey Williams, Peyton Page, and DeMonte Capehart in the mix, as well as Caden Stewart, who we signed last year. So those guys, man, are just really working hard, doing a lot of great things, man. Just most recently, Peyton Page and DeMonte Capehart became True Tigers of the Week, which they excelled in academics. We always talk about everything we do matters. And so, man, I make sure that I celebrate those guys for doing things the right way. Because I truly believe, once you can develop them as men, they'll become better football players. And how we do anything is how we do everything. And so we talk about excellence on the field. And so we got to be excellent and how we treat people, how we approach the classroom, how we approach the weight room, how we approach our daily lives. And it's an everyday thing. Even for me, I'm always trying to develop myself as a coach to be better in everything, every year, to try to learn more, to try to challenge myself more so I can be a better version of myself for my players. It's really about being an example for my players. And so, yeah, it's not a one-man show. Man, we got a great defensive staff. Our recruiting department, man, Jordan Soros and all those guys and Chanel and all the people that work in the recruiting department, and I can't do it without them either. So, man, I'm truly grateful for all the people in this building that have a hand in, and those people help me get those guys here, and they're part of that development as well.
All right, Coach Sweeney is itching to go, and you know when Coach Sweeney is itching to go, that means we got to go.
I hope you guys left him about 40 minutes.
He's going to get as long as he wants.
Absolutely.
Nick, good to see you, brother. All right, Nick Easton, they're with us. All right, so here we go. We're going to get to hear from Coach Sweeney. I believe that we're going to turn things over to Taj Boyd.
Welcome to National Signing Day 2023. My name is Taj Boyd. I started here in 2009, finished in 2013. And I got one question. Do you believe? All right? Do you believe? Because the best is yet to come. And I got about 3 minutes here, and Jordan told me as soon as I walked in the building that I'm going to be introducing Coach Sweeney. But, 22 is a special year. 12 straight 10-win seasons is another Clemson championship. But a lot of people that's not here in this room right here think my guy lost it, and they don't realize that we're just beginning. All right, and so I wrote a little poem about the class of 23. This is our Jordan year. All right, 6 rings. Right. So the class of 23 is a reminder to those who forgot what was, what is, and will continue to be. When the rain came, Twitter played the blame game, and even though we're the ones holding court, this is our Jordan year. We reigned supreme, and along with those fantastic freshmen, we reloaded with TD, XT, 33, Sheridan Jones, JP, and Garrett Riley, all right? And so you tell me, is the best still not to come? Look, we're building something special here. And as Coach will tell you, we're living in the good old days right now. And so I just want you to take heed to that and realize that you being in this room right here is what makes us and continues to build us into a special program. I like to say that Clemson's like the church, right? Even if the brick and mortar fell, the people will still exist. The people make Clemson, and Clemson is the people, all right? And so, to our leader, to our coach, Dabo Swinney. Here we go.
Appreciate that, Tosh. All right, man, what a world we live in. Come a long way from sitting up there in your dining table, talking to your mom and dad, trying to talk a quarterback into coming to Clemson and getting him to believe that, hey, we'll build something special. We'll change Clemson. And, have we been able to do that. Go Tigers. Go freaking Tigers, all right? Good to see everybody this morning. Excited to have everybody here. Great to see y'all. I really just appreciate you coming out and helping us celebrate this class. Even though everybody's already signed and all that, it's a day that we're going to formally celebrate this new group, introduce them, have a chance to everybody here from the mid-years tonight and all that. So, again, just wanted to formally celebrate them. We got 15 mid-years that are here that you'll have an opportunity to hear from tonight. And what I would say, first of all, as we go into signing day, and these are great days, Orange Jacket Day. This is the only time I ever wear this jacket. They gave me this jacket when I became the head coach, and I'm like, when am I ever going to wear this jacket? I mean, it's a little much, but if you can't wear it on signing day, when are you going to ever wear it, right? And then, lo and behold, the hat over here, Dean, he's got George Bennett's jacket. But anyway, they gave me this, I don't know, 14 years ago or so. So I'm still rocking it on signing day. But it's always a special day, and as always, time will tell. We get excited about young people, especially today. With all the opportunities that these guys have, it's exciting when a group of young men and their families really buy into who we are. Because when they come here, they're saying, like, we believe in you. Like, this is who, we're not recruiting guys that have no options. These kids can go anywhere in the country. And so it's really, really exciting when they, come here. And again, Time will tell, but I believe that we have just signed another class that's going to win a national championship at Clemson. I really believe that. I don't have any doubt about that. Taj just talked about, do you believe that? I absolutely believe that. I believe it a lot more now than I did when I signed Taj Boyd's class. That first group of 12, and all those guys are rock stars and doing great, by the way, all 12 of them, graduated, have done great things in life and special group that I always cherish. But I really believe this group will win a national championship at Clemson. It's heavy in the trenches, big, strong, athletic offensive linemen, explosive, powerful, twitchy defensive linemen. We got another big-time young quarterback and another veteran coming in here to shore that position up. Lots of skill, tight end, receiver, running back, linebacker, DBs, 27 signees. So we really kind of hit all of our needs. And again, I really appreciate this group because they pretty much have all, outside of 2 or 3, were committed since the summer. They've been committed to Clemson since the summer and never wavered, never had an issue. And some of these guys are, top guys in their state. Hard to get some of these guys from where they came from, but they all believe in who we are and align with the core values of this program. The other thing I'll say about this group that I really appreciate that's been unique, I can honestly say this is probably the closest signing group that we've had come through here. And what I mean by that is they're unbelievably connected already, and they've been that way since the summer. Group chats, text messages, all this stuff. This is a very close group. And then these 15 mid-years and the guys that are coming this summer, they talk every day. And there's truly a bond already that's been there. Sometimes, that happens when you get to school. These guys have had it, and it's just a product of kind of the world that we live in now, and it's been really cool. But it's also because of the type of leadership, the type of young people that this is a dynamic group of young men that I believe y'all are going to love, and it's also a special group of parents, and that's probably my favorite thing. It's a long few weeks when you're on the road every single day from Boston to Naples to Texas and everywhere in between. But I love that. I love going to where they're coming from, being with their parents, and really just having a real understanding of where they are, because it's our job to meet them where they are. It's not their job to come to us. It's our job to meet them where they are and help them. But this group is special. And when you meet the parents, you realize why. This is a rock star group of parents that are coming to Clemson as well. So just really thankful for all of them. Again, 27 signees, 15 mid-years, 7 different states, and D.C. 11 from Georgia, 5 from Alabama, 3 from South Carolina and Texas, 2 from Florida, and then 1 from Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and D.C. So a lot of guys, 13 on offense, 14 on defense, really 13 and 13, and we got one young man that we're going to kind of cross-train a little bit and eventually figure out, what's the best path forward with him as we start coaching him. But this is the top 10 class, on paper, whatever that means, okay? This is a top 10 class, and it's our 13th consecutive top 15 class. So it reflects the strength, number one, of our brand, to be able to go and how many guys have we signed out of Texas and guys have been pretty good, right? Makuba, Mickens, Klubnik. These guys are pretty good that have rolled in here. To be able to go out there and get, 3 more guys coming in here from Texas, to be able to go to Massachusetts and get one of the best players in the country in Hannafin, to be able to go down to Naples and get an unbelievably long 6'6" dynamic tight end in Olsen, and guys all in between, to go and get 5 guys from the state of Alabama, including I think the best player in the country in Peter Woods, to be able to go to Georgia and get 11 players, great players. It's again a reflection of our brand, but overall, again, the overall consistency of our program to have our 13th top 15 class in a row. We've never had the number 1 class. I'm not sure we ever will. Maybe, who knows? because we really don't try to do that. We just try to get the best people that fit our program and that we think will develop into championship players and men. That's really what we do. And we're very good at that. And that's why we've been very consistent. Again, we never had the #1 recruiting class, but we've beaten the teams that have had them. And we've beaten them at the highest level. So I think that's a credit to, again, just the consistency of the program. So speaking of consistency, I'm standing here right now. It's been an amazing 12 years. Taj was alluding to that. 12 years of not just consistency, not just excellence, but 12 years of uncommon consistency and excellence. Like, not normal, very, very unnormal, very uncommon, especially in the world of college football. And there's just a few things I want to, this morning just kind of touch on as a reflection and a reminder of who we are at Clemson and what makes us special. The first thing is this right here. I don't know if who's got that? All right, right here. How many times have you heard that? There's something different about Clemson. In the recruiting process, we've had guys, I can't tell you how many guys, and they didn't necessarily come to Clemson, but you ask them this, and man, I love Clemson. There was just something different about Clemson. I've heard this for 20 years. I've been here 20 years. What is this, February 1st? This month. 20 years. I thought I was going to be here like a year or two. 20 years I've been at Clemson. Crazy. And over 20 years, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard this. There's just something different about Clemson. And what that something different is this right here. People are genuine. People are happy at Clemson. All right? And we need to continue to be that. We need to continue to be genuine. This is a place where, and it's not just in this building. This is a place, when people leave here, they're like, man, this place is different. I hear all the parents, because they go all over. People are happy in this building. People are genuine. And it's the same way if you go downtown and you walk in one of the stores downtown. People are genuine. You walk across the streets of even our fans and how they treat opposing fans. People it oozes from the streets of Clemson. People are happy here. People are genuine. This is a place where you don't just hear the message. This is a place where you see it and you feel it every single day. You see it and you feel it every single day. And that's what makes this place special. So that's something that's different. That's what it is. All right? And it needs to continue to be a place that you see it, that you feel it. The genuine, the authenticity, the joy, people being happy. I think that's very important. The next slide, just a couple things here. This is how we've built this program. This is what our program is about. All right? So you can be great at something and you can outwork people and you can get to the top of your field. All right? But only your character is going to keep you there. This is a program that has had a heart and a soul for a long time. We are not a transactional program at Clemson. We are a relational program. This is a program that has a heart and a soul. We're going to do what's right. But most importantly, it's a program of character. All right? No perfect people, no perfect place, but a place of good intentions. And the number one thing for us is to build great men through this game, through this opportunity, the hearts and souls that are in front of us. And if we can win some games along the way, great. But for me, as your head coach, this is what it's about for me. It's about young men leaving here ready for whatever's next, whether it's to go to the NFL, to go be husbands, to go be fathers, to go into the business world, and to be people of character. And so how do we develop that? Well, every single day that they walk in this building, we are sowing these seeds every single day, because these are the seeds of competitive greatness. Competitive greatness. You're not going to be great at anything unless you're really, really good for a long period of time. All right? And that's what we've been about since the day I got this job. But this is what we look for right here. These are the building blocks. Respect and unity, humility, passion, poise, determination, perseverance, all these things. creating habits of excellence. All right, so this is what we've built our program on. This is what we're looking for in the recruiting process. All right? This is who we are. This is what makes Clemson unique and different. So it starts with character. The next slide. Taj mentioned this. I didn't even know what he was going to say. He said, do you believe? Well, this is a foundational principle to our program. All right, when I got this job 14 years ago, that's how the world saw me, and that's how the world saw Clemson. Okay? As a D-plus hire, as somebody that a lot of y'all didn't want to probably get this job, and that's fine. If I was in your shoes, I'd probably be the same way. It's no problem. But here's the key. Football is a game of matchups. It's a game of matchups. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. This is a game of matchups. But the number one matchup that you got to win in football and the number one matchup that you have to win in life is the man in the mirror. It's the matchup between the man in the mirror. It's not what everybody else says or what everybody else sees. It's what do you think? What do you see? The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. All right? And so even though other people may see certain things, it's when I got this job, that's what I saw. And my number one job was to build a program and to get a group of young people and coaches and fans to see that same thing. And there ain't nothing changed. There ain't nothing changed. The only thing that's changed is, you never have a dog bark at a parked car. That don't ever happen. But you let one come riding by, he'll run off that porch in a heartbeat, right? The only thing that's changed is other people now see that. The problem in life is we all have this inside of us, but so many times we look, it's turned around the other way and we see that. And we're defeated before we ever start something. So this is a mentality that we've built this program on. It's been a mentality from day one. It's dreaming big. It's having an unshakable, it don't make sense. I know it's 4th and 16 and we got no chance type of belief. That's the type of belief I'm talking about. I know there's 2 minutes left in the game and you got to go the distance against Alabama. Type of belief. I know we hadn't won the conference championship in 20 years and we hadn't had 10 wins in 20 years, but here's what we're going to do type of belief. That's what it takes. And ain't nothing changed. All right? The only thing that's changed is it is rooted deep in the DNA and the walls of this building. All right? And so I'm very, very thankful for that. Next slide I want to put up here is we have never gotten away from our why. We all know what we do. We know how we do it. But why do we do it? I'd say the same thing to you. What you do, you can probably tell me. If I asked you what you do, you'd tell me. And then you can probably tell me how you do it. But why do you do it? And that's really the focus of this program. Listen, my why is very simple. My purpose in life is very simple. Very simple. It's to glorify God. It's to be a great husband and father. And it's to use the game of football to build great men. That's my purpose. That ain't changing. If y'all want that to change, y'all better hire another head coach. Because that's my purpose. And it ain't ever going to change. All right? And it's in that order. We're going to build great men through this game, and we have done that, and we will continue to do that because everything we do in this program is about the purpose of this program. And the purpose and the vision of this program is this right here. And so take yourself back to January of 09. January of 09, first staff meeting. Like, this is a big day, right? Some of y'all have probably had those days where you got, okay, you're the AD, you're going to have your first AD meeting, right? It's a big day. All right, you got your new company, whatever, and you got, you're going to walk in like this is the first day. Like, what are we going to be about? And everybody's looking at you. And our first ever staff meeting, January of 09, this is what I talked about. I said, guys, I don't know how long I'm going to be the head coach. But as long as I'm the head coach, this is what our program is going to be about. And every decision we make will be about making this happen. And then and you can't just articulate something. You got to be able to tell people why. And so I talked about graduation. we're going to graduate our players. And here's why. Because I'm the first college graduate in my family. Because I was at Alabama for 13 years. I was there long enough to see guys that I played with come back when they were 30 and they were struggling because they had no education, they had no degrees. The band cheered loud for them, the fans roared. But they didn't have degrees. And I always said, if I ever become a head coach, we're going to have a program that's going to value education. We're going to have a program that is going to teach the value of education. And so this is great. This is day one. Well, 14 years later, we got a 98% graduation rate. 346 seniors, 340 graduates. Top 10 academically, 11 out of the last 12 years, Clemson, Duke, and Northwestern. So it's about having a vision, and then it's about walking it out every single day. And it doesn't mean you don't have some tough days and some years are better than others, whatever. But we've never gotten away from our purpose. And then it's tools for life. When we built this building, this is the front door right here, Paul Journey. It's a 2-story, living, breathing space with 5 people that work there that come to work here every day, and they have one job. None of them are coaches. Their job is to serve our players. We've had 100% job placement 5 years in a row. 100%. Lives are literally transformed and changed in this space that we've created. Our former players and our overtime program, they're connected. This is a lifetime decision. Tools for life, financial literacy, agent education, career development, micro internships, personal growth, on and on and on, community service, resume, you name it. When they walk in these walls, it's so much more than football. First staff meeting, if all we do, if Taj Boyd, all he does is know how to read a defense, throw a tight spiral, all right, and execute some plays, when he leaves here, we have failed. No, we're going to equip our guys with real tools for life, all right? And the third thing is I want them to have a great experience. I want to build a program. I want to create an environment. I want to build and create a culture that's fun. That's fun. We're going to have a great experience. We just had 7 starters, 7. Putnam on offense. Xavier Thomas, Maskell, Ruco Roro, Tyler Davis, JP, Sheridan. 7 starters, 5th and 6th year guys. At least 5 of them would have been drafted. Say, I want to stay at Clemson for a 5th and 6th year. You know why? Because they've had a great experience. They've had some fun. They love it. And then the last thing, and this is the thing I want to really stress, is I want every class, everybody that comes to Clemson to win a championship. All right? And the key in this is it's in this order. See, and what I think happens at a lot of places is they put winning ahead of all these other things. And that's when you have a breakdown. That's when your culture cracks. That's when it becomes toxic, all right? And we've never done that. I believe if you get those 3 things right, the winning will take care of itself. And so that sounded good in January of 2009. That sounded good. But here we are now 14 years later. How have we done? How have we done? Okay? For our team, very simple. So that's what we want for the players. And for the team, this has changed one word. We had to change one word when they went to the playoff. This used to say win the bowl game. Used to say win the bowl game. And then in 15, we hit all of them. We won the bowl game, and we got beat in the national championship. Remember on the onside and kick return? So I came back the next year, and I was like, man, that was my fault. Dang. We hit every goal. I always said if we hit every goal, we win the whole daggum thing. Well, we did hit every goal. So I changed it. I said, we're going to win the closer. Well, we won the national championship. We hit every goal. And so we set our team goals up. And when I got the job, this is what we talked about. Because I said, I know when I got the job, I go back to that cat. I know we hadn't won 10 games in 20 years. I know we hadn't won 11 in 31 years. I know we hadn't won a conference championship in 20 years. But I said that will all happen if we just stay focused on the right things. And we're going to create team goals that will allow us to compete at the highest level. And so that's how we've gone about it. All right? And that has not changed one bit, the vision of this program. All right? Next slide. So when I got the job, we built the West Zone, and we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of money. And if you didn't believe it, Katie Hill let you know real quick. Those of you remember Katie, there you go. Shout out to Katie. And so, you know, I'm like, man, I'm like just getting the job. I'm like, man, we got to get some graphics. We got a message. I want everywhere they go, they're getting. And it was like, well, no, you get like one thing right here. And I'm like, okay. So I started with a quote from George Washington Carver that says, when you do the common things in life in an uncommon way, you will command the attention of the world. And that was first team meeting with my team. We talked about belief. We talked about attitude. We talked about character. And then I said, you know what? And here's the other thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about doing the little things better than everybody else. Muhammad Ali said it's not the mountain ahead, because we're going to climb a mountain every year, and you don't get to stay on top of the mountain. Every year you're right back, and every year we climb it. Muhammad Ali said it's not the mountain ahead, it's the pebble in my shoe that wears me out, right? So it's about the little things. So if we'll just do the common things in an uncommon way, we will command the attention of the world at Clemson. Just got to do the little things better. And what is that? Well, we're going to clean the locker room. When we get off them buses, they're going to be spotless. When we go to the movie, it's going to be spotless. We're going to get on and off the field. It's how we practice. It's how we the little things. We're going to do those things. And so, uncommon excellence and uncommon consistency over the last 12 years. If I had stood here in front of y'all February of 11, and I did, we probably over in the West End Zone, but February of 11, when we signed our class, we were coming off 6 wins. We had not won 10 games in 20 years. We had not won a league championship in 20 years. We had not won 11 games in 31 years. And if I'd have said, you know what, over these next 12 years, we're about to have 12 10-plus win seasons in a row. We're going to win 8 conference championships. We're going to have a 98% graduation rate. We're going to be with Duke and Northwestern academically. We're going to win multiple national championships. I know it's been 120 years. We've only won 1, but in the next few years, we're going to win a couple. We're going to go to 6 Final Fours. We're going to have a run where, hey, we go almost a decade without losing to our state rival, and that's probably the quota that we should only allow right there. Got to keep it competitive. If I'd have told you then in February of 11 that we're about to go on a 12-year run and we're going to be the only team in America with a postseason win for 12 years in a row, the only team, and it's the longest postseason winning streak in the history of college football. Oh, and by the way, we're going to have the 3rd winningest decade in the history of college football. I think everybody would have said, hey, sign me up for that. Sign me up. Count me in. Now, that doesn't mean we win the national championship every year. But we sure are in it, and we compete. We didn't win the ACC every year, but we've won it 8 times, and we've won it 7 out of the last 8. Everybody would have said, hey, but I think what's happened is sometimes when you have success, you lose appreciation for it. And I've always said I don't want to ever let the expectation be greater than the appreciation. I don't want to be one of those places that's miserable even when you win. Oh, you didn't win by enough. Because then that resonates with your players. And then what happens, and listen, nobody has higher expectations than me or these players or these coaches. Nobody. Not even close. Not even close. But as we try to meet and exceed expectations, it's very important to have perspective. Because when you don't have perspective, you lose your joy in the journey. You lose joy. And the journey's what it's all about. 127 years, we've won 3 national championships. If we're only going to be happy when we win the national championship, it's going to be a lot of miserable years. We're going to miss out on a lot of fun. We're going to miss out on a lot of fun. We're going to miss out on a lot of great young people. We're going to miss out on a lot. All right, so I just tell you, man, this right here, so uncommon. 12 straight 10-win seasons. Clemson and Alabama, that's it right now. Bobby Bowden did it in the 80s. In the history of football, if you're only 1 or 2 to do something, that would be uncommon. Top 10% academically, 11 of the last 12 years, Clemson, Duke, and Northwestern. And no offense to Duke, but them and Northwestern, I don't think they've played for a national championship. The only school in the nation, if you're the only one, wouldn't you say that's uncommon? The only one that's been top 25 in both football and academics the last 11 seasons in a row. Now, I know we haven't been perfect, but that's pretty special when you're the only one to do something. And you've done it the right way. We posted the highest team GPA in the spring, and we just had 90 players make a 3.0 or better, and 17 make a 4.0 or better. You know, in this world, nobody talks about the value of education anymore. But we do here. We do here. Because we've kept the main thing the main thing. We have had 73 academic All-ACC performers in the last 7 years. And it just came out yesterday, we lead the league once again. How about this one? This speaks to where we are today. Only 3 teams since 2000 have won a national championship without a top 5 recruiting class in the previous 4 years. Only 3. Auburn, y'all remember them, 2010? Remember the overtime, Catanzaro hooked it left? We all wanted to fire Catanzaro, right? Y'all mad at me, we got to get a kicker, we got a terrible kicker, we got to get a kicker. Well, Catanzaro left here as the leading scorer in history. I said, this old boy's going to be all right. He was pretty good. He was pretty good. But they had this guy named Cam Newton that year. And then Clemson and Clemson. That's uncommon. That's not normal. That's not normal. 346 seniors and 340 have their degree. That's not normal. That's uncommon. The fun is in the winning. We all know that. How many times y'all heard me say that? How many times you hear it? Hey, the fun's in the winning. We celebrate every win. 52 to 51, 3-0, whatever. We celebrate every win. The fun is in the winning, but y'all need to hear me on this. It's how you win that matters. It's how you win, because I believe if you can win all day long, but if you're not winning by serving the hearts of your players and impacting their lives for the rest of their life by how you win, I think you lose. I think you lose. And we're never going to compromise on that, ever. Ever. Not as long as I'm here. All right, that's not going to change. Okay? Next slide. I love this. This came out yesterday. This is 2 years in a row. We've been tops of the league. So we won the league, but how about this? We're on top, the most academic dudes. And listen, there's a lot of smart schools up there. But I'll tell you this, that's how you win. That's winning on the field, and that's winning off the field. I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of that. Okay, next slide. So as we go into this right here, so I call this the Roaring 20s. So we just lived through the transformative teens. I think we would all agree we transformed Clemson. We transformed it. 3rd winningest decade in the history of college football. And now we're in the Roaring 20s. And here's the good news, because y'all get a lot of bad news. Here's the good news. The good news is we're off to a better start this decade than we were last decade. And I'm telling you right now, as Taj said, we ain't even close. We're not even close to what this program is going to do. The difference is we just got a different foundation in place than what we had when we started that last decade. We have a true foundation of excellence in place. We have it. We have a lot of bricks and mortar, but bricks and all, but it's the mortar, which is the people and the culture that holds it all together. Okay? So it's a foundation of excellence. Foundation of excellence. How about this? I know it's apparently not a big deal to win the league anymore. It was a big deal when I got this job. Y'all should have told me that in the beginning. I wouldn't have worried about it. 7 out of the last 8 years, that has not happened in the Power 5 football since Alabama, 1971 to 1979. That's the last time anybody in college football has done that. "12 straight 10-win seasons, 11 straight top 15 finishes, 59-2 at home in the college football playoff era. We lost a game in 13 to Florida State. Freaking Taj lost his mind. We all remember that day. That was a bad day. Boy, but he finished good, didn't he? We lost a game in 16 to Pitt, and we lost one this year. And they all have similar characteristics. We've not been perfect, but man, we've been good. And we've had a lot of fun, and we've done it the Clemson way. We have a foundation of excellence. That's first in the nation. Next slide. We've been to 14 CFP, New Year's Six, BCS Bowls in the last 10 years. We're the only school in the country with a postseason win 12 years in a row. So that's an ACC championship. That's a playoff game. That's a bowl game. That's hard to do. That's the longest streak in college football ever. Those are hard games. Again, 13 top 15 recruiting classes. We've never had the number one class. We're second in draft picks. Never had the number one class, but we're second in draft picks since I've been the head coach. It's not just winning, it's how you win. We've had 121 wins in the last 10 years. You'd think we ain't had 20. We're one of only 2 schools in the country with 110 plus wins. 117 wins in the last decade, third most ever. Next slide. Oh, by the way, we've beaten the best to do it. Say, well, you don't play nobody. Well, we scheduled the Dallas Cowboys, I guess. We've played everybody we can possibly play. And we've played them on the biggest stages. And again, we're not perfect. But in all those games, we're 8-3 in our last 11 bowl games, postseason games. We're 8-3. These are hard games. You got some schools that ain't won one in, since Moby Dick. All right? So we're 6-2 versus the SEC West since 7 years. We've beaten Oklahoma, Georgia, Ohio State, Notre Dame, A&M. We've played everybody we can play. We're not perfect, but we've been a really, really competitive program. We're second in the country with CFP wins. Alabama leads it. We're second. Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson have been to the playoff the most. And again, it's hard. This is the Final Four, y'all. It's the Final Four. Right? It is really hard. But we've been there. That's the 3 teams that have been there the most. And head-to-head, we're the only one. Head-to-head, we're the only one with a winning record. Hard to win those games. We want to win them all. All right? Alabama, to me, has been the best. And they're 2-3 in their last 5 national championships. They're hard. It's hard games. All right? Second nationally in both total draft picks and first round draft picks among all the active head coaches. So as we come back to where we are in recruiting, all right, and hopefully just reset a little bit on who we are as a program. We're not a program of perfection, but we're a program of great intentions, and we're a program of continuity, and we're a program of great consistency, uncommon consistency, and uncommon excellence. This next slide, because there's been a lot of talk about what's happened. There ain't but one team up there twice. And, so, and it's hard to win. Next slide. So we'll just take 8 years. That's a pretty good amount of time. How hard is it to win? How hard is it to win? And sometimes you hear me say that, you don't really understand. Well, 6 wins, 8 years in a row. There's been a total of 9 teams that have done that. If y'all want a program of consistency, or do you just want to have a good team every now and then? It's a different philosophy. At least 7 wins 8 years in a row. Well, that drops to 5 teams out of 131. 131. At least 8 wins, it drops to 3 teams. At least 9 or 10 wins, there's only 2 teams. All right? Really, really hard to win. Okay? Uncommon excellence and consistency. Next slide. Consecutive years with a top 25 ranking. That's not top 5, not top 10. So we'll just say top 25. How hard is it to be consistently in the top 25 in college football? Well, this goes all the way back. These years I was telling you, 15 years for Alabama, 12, and then look where it drops. It's hard just to finish in the top 25. Next slide. This right here, as we are today. So as we talk about recruiting, that website, The Athletic, they do a re-rank every year, in which finally somebody started doing that. I've said that for years. I'm like, why do we care what a ranking on who cares? They don't give any trophies out on recruiting day. You better freaking evaluate well, and you better develop. Nobody ranked Grady Jarrett. He didn't make on anybody's rankings. They drafted him in the 5th round, right? They'd go back and take him in the 1st round now. So every year, The Athletic does a re-rank. They do a re-rank based on the class 4 years ago. And we're the only school up here that's in the green. Every class we've had 4 years later has been re-ranked higher than what it was on signing day. Now, why is that? Well, that's based on performance. That's based on retention. That's based on development. All right, now listen, Alabama, but they ain't got much help. They got no, they number 1 about every year, right? This goes back to 8, so they'll come out with the 2019 class 4 years later at some point, whenever, somewhere over this year. But 14, 15, Alabama was 1, 1, 1, 1. It's hard to be, they got no room for error, right? And they're still like negative 0.4. So it's not about all of that. It's never been about that. It's about development. And it's about evaluation. And not that anybody's perfect. We're certainly not perfect. We'll miss. Sometimes you don't miss on the talent at all. You hit on the talent, but you maybe miss on other aspects. All right? So we've been consistently good. I think there's one more slide. How about this? Talk about graduation and doing it on the field. Well, everybody wants to go to the NFL. We're the only team, 131 teams, that had a player on every playoff team in the NFL playoffs. We're the only one. And we're second most players. We had 26 players in the playoffs. 26 players. And we had several not in the playoffs. 26 players, second most. So, again, it's not just winning, it's how you win. All right? And so, as we get into this class, I think that's the last slide. Is that the last slide? Well, this right here. That's it. So what was the last thing on the vision of that program? Win a championship. Every signing class that we've had since my very first Dandy Dozen in February of 2009, when we set out the vision of this program, every single signing class. And again, at that time, we hadn't won a championship in 20 years. Hadn't won 10 games in 20 years. Now we win 10, y'all want to fire me. Okay? Every single signing class has won a championship. Most have won multiple. All right? So there ain't nothing changed in our program. Not one thing. We're committed to our why. We're committed to our purpose. We are a purpose-driven program. All right? We're committed to doing things in an uncommon way. I don't care what everybody else does. I ain't ever cared about that. All the way back to my first board meeting when they told me, hey, we want to be like Georgia and Florida and Michigan. And I said, no. I want them to want to be like Clemson. That's a different mindset. And that's what has driven this program from day one. And that's what still drives us today. So every single class has signed and has won a championship. And this class right here is officially on the clock. They own the clock. And I don't have any doubt they'll keep the tradition alive. So before we meet them, I just want to, again, say how grateful I am for these players. I want to say how grateful I am for their families, because they truly believe in the vision of our program. All these young people, they've come here because they believe in Clemson, they believe in who we are. And I'm very, very thankful for that. I do not take that lightly. That's a big deal, all right? And so I hope that y'all don't just look at these young people as transactional things. I hope that you really, truly look at them as young people of excellence. We're very transparent in the recruiting process, very transparent, brutally transparent, all right? So you best believe when a kid says, I'm coming to Clemson, he's coming for the right things. He truly values who we are as a program. So with that, I just want to say this to you. There has never been a better time to be a Tiger. And we had a great year this year, and maybe we've had a team or two better, but there has never been a better time to be a Clemson Tiger. And I would truly tell you, this is the best of times. This is the best of times. Man, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Be Clemson. Be Clemson. All right? Be a family. That's who Clemson's always been. This is the best of times. This is the good old days. All right? And, man, I just hope that everyone will truly enjoy the journey. And so let's meet this group of Tigers, and we're going to have some fun introducing them as we go through this list right here. I think first up, Jordan, you just want me to start cranking them out? All right, first up, we got Coach Wes Goodwin, our defensive coordinator, his wife Jenna Lee. We're going to introduce linebacker D. Creighton from Denmark High School, Alpharetta, Georgia, Coach Mike Palmieri. Linebacker Jamal Anderson, y'all may remember his dad, the Dirty Bird with the Falcons. Mill Creek High School, who just won the state championship, Buford, Georgia, Coach Josh Lovelady. D. Creighton and Jamal Anderson. Let's celebrate these guys. D. Creighton has been a kid that's dreamed about coming to Clemson his whole life. And, man, Jamal, he is a special player. So you guys are going to love these guys. Two great linebackers. That was our number. We knocked it out of the park. Next up, Coach Mickey Kahn, our safeties coach, to introduce his guys. We've got 3 safeties in this class. Went down to Sumner High School, Tampa, Florida. Coach Alonzo Ashwood. This is Colin Webb. Colin Webb. Safety Rob Billings from Milton High School in Atlanta, Georgia. Coach Ben Reeves. And Khalil Barnes from North Oconee in Athens, Georgia. Coach Tyler Arndt. 3 really, really dynamic, long, tough, high-achieving safeties. Super excited to have these 3 guys on board. Next up, our new addition to the staff this past year. Man, what a blessing that he's been, and getting him back to Clemson. He was a great player. He was Christian Wilkins before Christian Wilkins was cool, because he had the master's degree before he left. So this is Coach Nick Eason. What a wonderful job he's done coaching our guys. He loves Clemson, and he's as good and as tough as they come, and he has knocked it out of the park. We've got defensive line Peter Woods, Thompson High School, Alabaster, Alabama. Coach Mark Freeman, He's a 19, 20, 21, and 22 state champion, and I truly think Peter Woods is the best football player in the country. I don't think there's any question about it. The only thing I have a hard time with is he went to my rival school just down the road from Pelham, Alabama. But Peter Woods, defensive lineman Vic Burley from Warner Robins High School, Warner Robins, Georgia. Coach Marquise Westbrook, also two-time state champion, one of the biggest dudes and athletic dudes you're going to ever see. A great, great, great player. Comes from a family of educators. His mom and dad are both educators. Super excited about Vic. And then defensive lineman Stephylan Green from Rome High School in Rome, Georgia. Coach John Reed, incredibly athletic and dynamic big man. Next up, Coach Lemansky Hall and his wife Leslie are going to come introduce our 3 DNs from St. John's College High School in Largo, Maryland, up there in D.C. Coach Pat Ward, 2-time state champion. This is David Ojebwe. Y'all going to love this guy. Just think Xavier Thomas, today's version, kind of looks like that. He is a big, big, strong young man. Also from Stuart, Florida, but went to school at Woodward Academy in Georgia, coached by Coach John Hunt. We got defensive end A.J. Hoffler. Long, strong, can run, incredibly smart, bright young man y'all are going to love. And then lastly at defensive end, Tamarion T.J. Parker from Central High School, Phoenix City, Alabama. Coach Patrick Nix. T.J. Parker was a late addition. He was a young man that was going elsewhere early on, and things changed. Lemansky did a great job of connecting with him, and man, he's already become one of the great leaders that we have in this mid-year class. Next up, Coach Mike Reed, our corners coach, and his beautiful wife, Kim. Yeah, I like it. There we go. Let's crank it up. We got 3 corners. We've got Avion Terrell. Y'all remember A.J. Terrell? The only reason I recruited A.J. was to get Avion. That's just the real facts. So he was a little 6th or 7th grader when A.J., and man, it just goes to show you when you do things right, people have a good experience. They want Avion. Avion can go anywhere in the country. He is a long corner. He can run. He's tough. He really kind of handles himself like a pro already. He's from Westlake High School in Atlanta, Georgia. Coach Rico Zachary. And then cornerback Brandon Strozier from St. Francis High School, Lovejoy, Georgia. Coach Frank Barden, legendary coach in the state of Georgia. Super excited about having him. Same thing, long, really long, athletic corner. And then Shelton Lewis, one of our mid-years from Stockbridge High School, Stockbridge, Georgia. Coach Thomas Clark. Super excited about having Shelton. And the cool thing about Shelton, when I went to his house, his dad went and got an old loose leaf piece of paper that was very old, and when Shelton was like 10, he wrote down his college choices on where he was going to go to college. He had like his top 10, and Clemson was number 1. And pretty cool that he was able to go and make his dream happen. Great player, and again, a mid-year, super excited about him. And then our newest coach coming in from via Texas, fresh off a national championship appearance with his wife, Lindsay. This is Garrett Riley and Lindsay Riley. Going to introduce our 2 quarterbacks, CV, Christopher Bazina from Briarwood Christian High School in Birmingham, Alabama. Coach Matthew Forster, who I recruited, his head coach I recruited when I was at Alabama. He was a tough linebacker back in the day, but super excited about CV. CV is big time. I mean, he could play for anybody in the country. He is big, he's strong, he's athletic, he can make all the throws. So we got another great young quarterback in the pipeline. And then how about let's give a hand here to Coach Riley and Miss Lindsay. Welcome, brother. Yep. Super excited. Y'all going to get to hear from him in a little bit. We're going to have a press conference, and then he'll be on live tonight at the barbecue as well. But really excited about having the Rileys join us, and they got 2 great little boys, Gibson and Grayson. Y'all gonna love them. But also we needed a little more experience in the room, kind of like last year when we went and got Hunter Johnson. And just kind of crazy how God works things out. But we got Paul Tyson, who signed with Alabama. It was 3 years at Alabama, was a backup to Jalen Hurts and Tua and those guys, and then went this past year to Arizona State. So this is Bear Bryant's great-grandson, which is kind of crazy, and he really looks like Bear Bryant. This is kind of what he looked like probably when he was 22 or whatever. But super excited about having Paul Tyson come in and join us from Trussville, Alabama. Coach Josh Floyd, Hewitt-Trussville High School. And then Coach Tyler Grisham and his wife Maggie going to introduce our receivers. First up, wide receiver Noble Johnson. Y'all going to love this guy. He's the one mid-year, so he's here already. He's from Rockwall High School, Rockwall, Texas. Coach Trey Brooks. You're really going to love Noble, man. This guy can do it all. Ronan Hannafin, first time I've ever shown up to somebody's house, and I can't even get out of the car, and I'm getting attacked. They had snowballs lined up, and we were literally under attack, running for cover the moment we got out of the car. Y'all are going to love the Hannafins, man. This is a big family. They actually, like, there's like 100 of them all live in the same area up there. It's unbelievable, but this is a great family. Ronan Hannafin from BBN, Buckingham, Brown, and Nichols School in Burlington, Massachusetts. Coach Mike Willie. He's a big, strong receiver, very, very physical. You guys are going to love. And then wide receiver Tyler Brown, right down the road, Greenville High School, Greenville, South Carolina. Coach Greg Porter. So it's a couple years in a row we're getting guys out of Greenville High. Coach Porter's done an amazing job over there. And I tell you, man, you know, some of these South Carolina receivers that we've had come through this program, like DeAndre Hopkins, like Adam Humphreys, like Mike Williams, like Sharon Peake, like Hunter Renfro. We've had a lot of guys. Man, this kid is special, and he is fast. He's got some serious wheels, a great kid, love his family. He's also a kid that has grown up dreaming about coming to Clemson, and really cool to have the opportunity. This guy, Myson Kelly, Tink Kelly, Daniel High School right here. I don't really know how to describe him other than he is an unbelievable athlete. Padgett, you've seen him up close. He is an unbelievable athlete, can do it all, and he's done it all. Corner, safety, running back, receiver, outside, inside, punt returner, kick returner. And, you know, just have watched this guy with my own eyes for so long, you just can't deny what you see. This guy is an elite player, and he's a grinder. He's a great kid. And, man, I'm super excited to have him join the Tigers. Man, Coach Frooster has done an amazing job up there with that program. And I'm not really sure, honestly, where he's going to end up long term. But this guy's going to be he's a football player, and he is going to be a great player. And I can't wait to get started having the opportunity to coach him. So excited about that group of receivers coming in here. Next up, our OL, we got three big hogs. Coach Thomas Austin and his wife Margaret are going to introduce these guys. Three big dudes, big, strong, and nasty. First up, offensive lineman Ian Reed from Vandergrift High School, Austin, Texas. Coach Drew Sanders. This is played in the state championship this year. He is a mid-year. He's here right now. This is huge for us, and he is a giant. You'll get a chance to see him tonight. Offensive lineman Harris Sewell. If you've never been to Odessa, Texas, make a trip. That is, and pack like a month's worth of food. That's a long way, man. That's way out there. He's from Permian High School, which is the high school that Friday Night Lights was filmed, that legendary movie. So, I mean, this kid is nasty. He is mean, but he's just a handsome guy when you meet him in life. But he is a dirtbag. This guy is just what we need, man. Odessa, Texas, Coach Jeff Ellison, what a great job he's done out there. You're going to love Harris. And then maybe one of the biggest guys we've signed ever, like Dexter Lawrence type dude, but taller. This is Zach Owens. They call him Flapjack. Big Zach from Eagles Landing Christian Academy in Covington, Georgia. Coach Tanner Rogers and his former coach Jonathan Guess. This is a big man, all right? Now, we got a little work to do in the beginning here because he's a little too big. but he's athletic. And, you know, I don't know that he'll ever be below 340, but he is a big, big mass of a human being that can move people. So big people move little people, and he fits that category. So next up, Coach Kyle Richardson and his wife Amanda. Super excited to have Kyle. Was on the field last year, did a great job with our tight ends. Man, I've been so impressed with Kyle because this really was his first time out on the road evaluating and recruiting and in the front lines of it. And he has knocked it out of the park, not only in this class, but we're going to sign another great one in the next class. But these two guys right here, y'all going to love. First up, Marcus Dixon. Man, this guy's from Archbishop Wood High School, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Coach Dave Armstrong. He is mean, he's strong, he can run, he's athletic. And then Olson, Pat Henry from First Baptist Academy down in Naples, Florida. Coach Billy Sparacio won the state championship this year. Olson is probably 6'6", long, can run, really, really athletic, and coming from a great program. So super excited about these tight ends coming in here to join us. And then last but not least, guy that was a pretty good player himself and was my first ever 5-star recruit, my first rounder, my first Pro Bowler, my first college football Hall of Famer, and there'll be more to come if the good Lord keeps me alive long enough. C.J. Spiller and his wife, Daisha. Super excited to have C.J. introduce these guys. There was a lot of people didn't want to talk to us because we have this guy named Shipley and this guy named Maffa. But, man, we really feel like we have knocked it out of the park. First of all, from right here, Dutch Fork High School, with Coach Tom Knotts, one of the best coaches in this state. 19, 20, 22 state champion, the 2022 South Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year, Jarvis Green, one of the most polished kids that we will have come in here. He can catch the ball. He can return the ball. He can make every run. Unbelievably productive every single week. And we really put him under a microscope all throughout the year. And really glad it worked out to be able to get Jarvis. And then we've got a kid named Jay Haynes coming from Hanley High School. All right, this is in Roanoke, Alabama, and unless you're from Alabama, you probably don't know where that's at. And if you went through there, you wouldn't have known it. But Coach Larry Strain, but this is a great small town in Alabama. And the best thing I could say about this kid is it's one of those guys where, kind of like Nolan Turner. We all looked at it like, what are we missing here? Because in the beginning, nobody was really recruiting him. And he is fast, and he's long. Think Wayne Gallman, but faster. That's what he looks like. That's his body type, but he's faster than Wayne. But he's from this little small town, plays every snap, both ways, great basketball player, unbelievable athlete. This guy's, he has dominated high school football. And, you watch the tape and you go, well, what do we, it's one of those deals where a lot of people make mistakes. They're like, well, why didn't anybody offer him? Well, I don't know. I don't know why we beat Buffalo to get Grady Jarrett, but I know what my eyes see. In about 30 minutes from where he's from, there's a school called Sylacauga. And about a week before signing day, back in 2013, we started looking at a guy, and his name was T.J. Green. And T.J. was a receiver, DB, and we're watching this guy going, what are we missing? Nobody's offered this guy. Small town. And T.J. came here, played receiver as a freshman, played safety as a sophomore and junior, and went pro as a junior and was a second-round draft pick. And this guy had no offers. All right? And so all I can tell you about this kid, Jay Haynes, is, and once we offered him, people started paying attention. But this kid I think he's got a bright future, and I'm super excited about these two guys coming to join us. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch these guys develop and blossom into something pretty special. So we also signed a couple guys. We had one kid in particular, Strecco, who was going to Air Force, was committed to Air Force, and decided at the last second to come be a preferred walk-on for us. And he's a pretty high-level little running back as well. And he's actually here He's here mid-year, so we'll get a chance to see him this spring. So really, really excited about some of these other walk-on guys that'll join us every year. And but, man, it's an awesome class, one of the bigger classes that we've had in a while. And hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight. And hopefully you guys are walking out here today feeling good about your program, feeling good about Clemson football, all right, because this place has never been better, ever. And it's going to be a lot of fun moving ahead. So thank y'all for being here. Your support means a lot. And I would just ask you guys, and I want all of y'all to understand, again, we're going to do things the right way. And even though the world has changed, we know what the rules are. And there's not one kid that's come to Clemson because of NIL. Not one. Not one. Not one kid has come here because of NIL. But we don't want anybody to leave because of NIL. So I would strongly encourage y'all to get involved with Tiger Impact and dear old Clemson. I would strongly encourage y'all because my focus is on the guys here. All right? You hear all these stories and all this stuff and people breaking rules because you're not supposed to use the NIL in the recruiting process. All right? And we're not going to do that. We're going to be who we are. And we're going to get the kids that align and value and the parents with who we are. Now, this is Clemson. There's nothing you can't do here. So I would just encourage y'all to be involved because it is a huge part of where we are in college football. Just like you got to have a dining facility, you got to have a nice strength and conditioning program. We built the cab. If y'all haven't seen that, hopefully y'all can go over there and walk through it. It's awesome. The Clemson Athletic Branding Institute. It's great. So to me, the NIL is another opportunity for us to truly equip our guys for life. We've never had the opportunity before to really, we've done age and education and financial literacy and tax education, but now you got real hands-on, like life experience, like what's a W-2, what's a 1099, those type of things. Ask you guys to hopefully please consider that, and we appreciate your support. We're going to have a team meeting today, 3:45. We'll have a big team meeting. Obviously, we've been on the road, so really get back in front of the team and set the tone, all right, for what we're getting ready to do. The guys have been training for the last couple weeks. We're going to get back on the field with our guys next Wednesday. When this is over tonight, as soon as it's over, the coaches are going to take a few days and, just go hibernate or sleep or whatever. And then we're going to get back on the field with our guys next Wednesday and start our all-in drills. And then spring ball is going to start March 6th. So we'll spend the month of February in our quality control. Obviously, we got some changes and getting everybody on the same page. And then we're going to hit the field March 6th, spring games April 15th. Y'all all saw the schedule. Y'all get your tickets, get your parking, get your popcorn, get yourself ready to go. I love what Taj said. This is the Jordan year. This is going to be a great 2023 for the Clemson Tigers. So thank you all for being here. God bless all of you, and hopefully some of you come to the barbecue tonight. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Jordan. Am I giving it to you? I'm just saying bye. Go Tigers.
All right, so that was about an hour and 15 minutes of just like Clemson football seminar is what you just experienced with William Christopher Sweeney. It was a thing of beauty to sit there and watch this man go through the last 75 minutes. If you ever want to know what happens in the recruiting talk when the recruits show up here, Junior Elite Day or something like that, that's basically, you got it. You basically got the Clemson football seminar. That was a thing of beauty. It was just the whole presentation.
That was fun, man. That's fun. That's man, this is a special time. And man, we got to have some fun, all right? And again, as I always say, the fun's in the winning, and we've won a bunch. But it's more important how you win. I think that's very important. And, man, we can't, again, ever lose sight of that. I just think it's important, man. We're not entitled to win, and we got to have joy in the journey. We're not going to be perfect, but we're going to strive for excellence, and we're going to strive to meet and exceed our expectations every single year. But man, we got to have joy, and we got to have perspective as we do that. I think that's very important, especially when you're leading a group of young people.
All right, got about 4 or 5 points that I want to hit with you. One, I want to start with construction that's going on right here in the background, because this is one of the things that you mentioned in your talk there. Paul Journey, it's one of the first things that you see when you come into this building.
Front door.
So tell us what's going on. Why the expansion?
Yeah, so we're having we're just we kind of outgrew it a little bit, so we're changing up office space and kind of rebuilding Anton and Richard's office. We changed the boardroom, so what you're going to see there is we flipped the boardroom from the back to the front right here. So that's a nice boardroom where companies come in and things like that for our guys to meet, for our Paul Journey ambassadors, all that stuff. So we just needed to kind of redo the space, if you will. And, we've got a great group that works in there. I mean, Joel and Jeff and Reggie and Carly, they all do an amazing job. So just kind of redesigned it. And, we've been in here 5 years now, and it was time to just, you learn a lot as you go through, and you always got to tweak and make some changes. And just like the same thing now that we've built the cab and we built a new production studio, and, I mean, it's amazing over there. Our old production studio, we've created, office space because we had some overflow and stuff that we, people just kind of sitting here and sitting there, where we're able to kind of create a little bit more space and use our room a little bit more efficiently.
All right, so you mentioned the Clemson Athletic Branding Institute. That's what the CAB is. If people have come by, they realize there's been construction going on, I guess, what I would call the west end of the indoor facility. That's all part of, branding Clemson, NIL stuff. That's all part of it.
Yeah, so, we're the first to ever build a facility. I mean, we planned this, I don't know, 2 years ago. I wanted to build a place, just like Paul Journey. I wanted to build a space, and we hired C.D. Davies, who's literally, been one of the people who's run Citibank, to be our NIL coordinator. But it needed to be a space, just like everything else. You need to get strong, you go to the weight room. You want to get some food, you go to the bistro. You want to talk offense, you go up to the offensive meeting rooms, right? You want to, you need some treatment, you go to the training room. You want to work with your NIL, you go to the cab. And the cab, I call it the cab because what does a cab do? It gives you a lift to your destination, but you got to pay the toll. You got to do the work. This ain't no free ride, right? And so it is an opportunity to help our guys brand, utilize the Clemson brand. I mean, we're one of 3 football programs that have 1 million+ Twitter followers. And so this is a huge brand. And so, we have the opportunity to help them and educate them and train them and protect them in this new world and help them navigate things. And really, it's just another kind of tool for life that we can help them, maximize and prepare themselves as they move forward, because there's a lot of things going on. And so we wanted to create a space for where they could use, but also, have some information available to them. We also built a media room over there, which we've never had a media room. So we got a media room off the thing. We built an NFL locker room for all of our former players to have a place to come back, have their own lockers, roll right into the weight room. We built a podcast area. I mean, it's just a really, really cool space but the 2 production areas is where, I don't understand all that stuff, but it's where, we can do a lot of cool things, both in branding and recruiting.
Well, you have always embraced the branding, the social media aspect of what college athletics is.
That's how you got here.
Exactly. Well, let me tell you, that was a long time ago, galaxy far, far away.
That's like 11, 12 years ago. I'm like, Don, I don't really know what it looks like, but I just want to create some kind of in-house media thing where we tell the story our own way. We kind of do an inside scoop and let's put it on social media. And that's how you got here.
That was how I got here. So, and I have you to thank. I can still remember that day when you called me when I was standing in Omaha, Nebraska, getting ready to do a College World Series.
Now look at you and Rick Bagby. Y'all are like the patriarchs of what we have going on here at Clemson. It's unbelievable. We're like one of the top media things out there, but y'all are kind of part of the
Now, Bagby's the man. Let me tell you, Geppetto, Pinocchio, all right? I'm just telling you, Geppetto and Pinocchio from that standpoint. All right, let's talk about the class.
Yep.
I mean, you got some dudes that are rolling in here.
Yeah, big on, OLDL, that's just where it starts. These guys are unbelievable. Knocked it out of the park. Thomas Austin crushed it. Ski and Eason crushed it, just killed it. I mean, these are guys that some of the best players in the country, could have gone anywhere, and most of them are mid-years too. So that's really cool thing about, all three of the linemen are mid-years. I'm trying to think. I think there's only 2 D linemen that aren't mid-years. So being able to get all these guys here is really awesome. And then we got another really high-level elite young quarterback in CV. I mean, he's special. And then tons of skill. We receiver, DB, linebacker, running back, tight end. I mean, just, really, really good players. That's a huge influx of talent. And honestly, I think it's just we're really built to make a run, man. I mean, this is a great roster. If you look at that junior class to be, Shipley, Maffa, Brenny, Bo Collins, that group, Marcus Tate, that's a really, really special group. Trotter, Barrett Carter, Nate Wiggins, that's a great group. And then you put that group from last year that we signed, those freshmen last year, in Klubnik, and those 3 receivers, Adam, Antonio, Cole, the 3 young guys rolling in here, the young D tackle and Caden Story, the young lineman in Blake Miller, who started as a freshman, right. Colin Sadler, man, those are 2 going to be great players moving forward. And then this class, I mean, we've really put some classes together that I think they'll win a national championship. I really do, and I can't wait to get started with them. And they got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do. But man, this is a really, as I said, a very close knit group that's incredibly focused, and it's a group of great leaders, a lot of winners, a lot of champions already, and it's going to be a fun 15 mid-years. So for all 15 of those guys to be able to go through spring, it's going to be fun. It'll be a little salty out there.
One of the things that you had new this year, you were able to bring just a handful of guys in that went through bowl practice, at least got 3 or 4 bowl practices under their belts. I mean, and you were even on record, I'd like to see them be able to play. Let's make them eligible to play.
Yeah,
but goodness gracious, what an advantage that is.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool to be able to, some of them, they couldn't all do it because they had all-star games and all that. But, the ones who came, they had a ball. And it was great to just kind of get started with them a little bit and kind of, like I already have seen Shelton Lewis. Man, I'm like, whoa, this guy, I've already seen him, And so it's pretty cool, to have had the opportunity because that was a first.
All right, so let's start with the change at offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. I will admit, after you got to the press conference of the Orange Bowl, and you were talking with the media there, and hey, I know the things that need to be done to fix the program. That put my flag up a little bit. I'll be really honest with you. My flag went up a little bit. But I knew that you were going to make the changes that you feel like you needed to do to make Clemson football better. Having met Garrett first time today, you've made Clemson football better.
Yeah, it's never about fixing the program. I mean, I don't think there's anything that needs to be fixed. Our program is not broken.
Right.
But my job is to always evaluate. These are hard decisions, and sometimes there's changes, and sometimes there's not. And when there is a change, I don't do anything without first of all being incredibly prayerful, and thorough, and lots of thought, and it's got to be on the right timing. So it's tough decision for sure. Man, I love Brandon Streeter. It's really tough when you love the people involved.
Right.
But Brandon and Ashley, these are Clemson people. These are, man, this guy has done an unbelievable job at Clemson, and coaching Deshaun Watson for 2 years, recruiting Trevor Lawrence. We may not get Trevor Lawrence if it's not for Brandon Streeter, and coaching him to the #1 pick in the draft, to recruiting DJ, to recruiting Cade, to recruiting CV. I mean, he is a Clemson man. I mean, I love Brandon, and he absolutely deserved. It was an easy decision last year. He deserved and earned the opportunity to lead the group, and we are. The hard thing is we did get better, but just not quite where we needed to be. And sometimes you just need a different voice, a different leader, maybe a different energy, whatever. So tough decision, but that's sometimes those things come along, and but I'm forever thankful for him and love him to death. And he's going to be a great coach. Listen, I made a change with Billy Napier. He turned out all right. He's the head coach at Florida. I made a change with Kevin Steele. What a career he's had. Garrett coming in here is my 6th offensive coordinator. And Tony went to be a head coach. Jeff went to be a head coach. Chad went to be a head coach. So. Streeter will be the same. We've had an unbelievable run and great memories, but this will be a good change for Street, and he's going to continue to have an unbelievable career. Street should be a head coach one day, or he'll be a coordinator in the NFL or whatever. He's just a really, really special human being, and so that's the hard part about it. But again, as I really evaluated, I felt like. And then it's not just making a change to make a change. It's okay. I had an opportunity to hire Garrett, and I think we're going to be able to help Garrett get better, and he's going to help us get better and help us get back to being one of the best offenses in the country. And we've been that. You look, obviously 21 was just crazy with all the injuries, and this year we got better, but still not where we need to be. I think he can help us, get back where we all want to be and should be and need to be and work to be. But I also think, it was a great fit for him because I think we can help him grow, help him continue to mature. He's a young guy, but super excited about, having him join us. And it's been fun because I've been able to be on the road with him for the last 2.5 weeks or so and spent just a lot of time together. And, he's a great fit. And, again, it was just one of those things that worked out, and the best part is nobody knew about it till we wanted him to know about it, and that just goes to show who he is as well. So excited about him and Lindsay and 2 precious boys joining us, and it's going to be a lot of fun to get this thing rolling here in March.
There's always the who, what, when, and why. You focused in on the why during your chat there that you had. So what was the why behind Garrett? What was it that sold you on him, that made you, okay, this is the guy that I want to get?
Well, obviously his success. He's got a great pedigree, and there's a few things that I felt like that. Just kind of like when I hired Chad, I felt like there was a few things I think he would bring into the room to make us better. And I think Garrett will do the same thing. We do so much good. There's some things that he will bring into the room for sure that's going to make us better and, kind of, spark us a little bit and change what we need to change and just grow a little more. So, but his success, he obviously comes from a great football family and certainly spent some time talking to Lincoln about all of it, who I know well and trust. And but you look at what he's done at SMU as the play caller, and then this year to go into TCU, and they really didn't have a lot of changes. They had, really same quarterback, same receiver, same running back, mostly the same linemen, and they went from 5 wins to playing in the national championship, and so scored a bunch of points, which is what we got to do. We got to score more, and that was a. We had, the bowl game was very frustrating, because we got 101 plays and 34 first downs and 500 yards, but they don't give you points for yards and how many plays we got to score, and we had a lot of opportunity to do that, and it just didn't work out. So I think that's the biggest thing is he has scored consistently with whatever he's had, and again, the other thing why him is he believes in running the football. Everybody talks about air raid and all that, and we're not going to be an air raid where they're dropping 8 and we're still throwing the football. We got to run the ball. We're going to run the ball, and I think I've always believed that's where your explosives come from, and you got to have some type of balance. But you want to be able to throw the ball when you want to throw it, and we got to get better in the passing game. If we're better in the passing game, we got a chance to be a special group, and I really think. He'll get us back on track there, and but more importantly, the timing. With the change at quarterback, I just felt like it would be a good fit and a good time as well. But he really believes in running the football. A lot of the same. Plays are plays, but sometimes how you get to certain things, can be a little different. And super excited about watching him do it.
All right, Rabbit Trail. You just set me off on it. I was going to ask you about the reaction of Cade Klubnik, but now I'm going to ask you instead. Give me the reaction then from Shipley, Maffa, the other guys that are in that running back room.
No, they're pumped. Listen, again, there's this, sometimes some of these guys get labeled because they maybe come from a background. But, I think they had a 1,400-yard rusher this year and an All-American. So, they're fired up, to answer your question, because they're super excited. They all are looking forward to getting in the meeting rooms and getting on the practice field in March. But everybody's excited about working with Coach Riley and bringing him aboard. Again, this is the Broyles winner. He was the top assistant coach in the country last year. He's very gifted at what he does, and how could you not be excited about that?
All right, two last things. One, let's talk a little bit about spring. What do you want to see happen in the spring? You get 15 practices. It'll start on March the 6th, all right? We'll wrap it up on the spring game on the 15th at 1 o'clock in the Valley.
Yeah, well, first of all, we got a lot to do to get everybody on the same page, right? So you got to learn how to speak the same language and things like that. So we got, everybody back defensively, so I want to see them. The number one thing for us defensively is to get better in our pass defense. And, we get better there, we'll be a dominant group. So that's the biggest thing there. And then, offensively, it's getting everybody on the same page. It's getting, the changes to the system and new things that we're going to be doing and everybody getting settled into their roles. Garrett really getting comfortable and really, learning everyone and being able to truly have a clear vision in his mind of who we are and what he's got and what we can do. I think that's the key there. And we got to get better throwing the football. Simple as that. We got to get better on pass defense. We got to get better on pass offense, and so that'll be a huge priority for us. And then we got 15 mid-years. Your goal. Most of our team is here. There'll be a few guys coming in the summer, so it's really developing your team and evaluating your team. Spring's kind of the time where you toy around with a few things. Whether it be position-wise or, just scheme-wise, whatever. But we'll rep a bunch of guys. We got a lot of young guys that are going to have some opportunity. And, again, obviously the new guys coming in, getting everybody in the right spot and creating that competitive nature throughout the team, the chemistry, the leadership, and the true vision of what this team can do.
All right, going to ask you a little bit about the schedule. Opener on Labor Day night, by the way, on the road in Durham against Duke. There's a lot of positive to that. You're going to have a national audience. We'll be the only team playing, I guess, that night on that Labor Day night. You like that matchup? You like starting on Labor Day night?
Not really.
Okay, that's honest.
I'd prefer to start on Saturday night, but I didn't get a vote. So, but it's back. The good news is the reason I don't like it is because we got to play again on Saturday. So there's no coach in America that's going to say, yeah, I like having 2 less days of preparation. I don't care who you're playing. It's hard. The good news is we just did it. So we've got a good feel for how we have to plan and prepare during camp and how we got to turn that around to get ready for Charleston Southern in a very short week. It's a challenge, and then going on the road again. So it's 2 years in a row on the road, Labor Day night. That's great. We like playing and getting started, but the short week makes it a challenge. But super excited to get it started and to open up. And Duke had a heck of a year this year. What a great, unbelievable job Coach Elko did up there. So it's been a while since we've been up there. It'll be a great, environment, a great opportunity to, right out of the gate, you're in the conference play.
3 home games, Charleston Southern, Florida Atlantic, Florida State. Then you hit a stretch, Coach, where you have 1 home game in a 40-day period. Wake Forest on October the 7th. Other than that, it's on the road at Syracuse, at Miami, at NC State. Basically makes up the month of October for you. Not an easy part of the stretch right there.
No, not at all. I guess, after Wake Forest, I think we got a bye after that.
Right.
And then it's 2 straight weeks on the road, going to Miami, going to NC State. Both of those will be really, really tough. They're all tough. And then you come home and you got Notre Dame rolling in here, during as we get into the championship phase of our schedule, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, obviously 3 teams we played this past year in North Carolina in the championship. So, it'll be a tough finish for us, and then going down to Columbia. So, I mean, it's a great schedule. It's a great opportunity for us, and, just take them one at a time, man. And you look up at the end of the year and see what you got done. But this team will be ready. We got a long way to go. We're in the get ready phase of our journey. It doesn't start now. It starts right now. And so we're all getting ready. Us as coaches, support staff, everybody in this building getting ready, getting better. And then we'll go through our transformation phase. And then when we get into August, that starts our primetime phase. So it all builds, and that schedule will get here when it is. But it's all about what we do today, and that's our focus.
We celebrate signing day here today, but your best guys are the guys that decided to come back. I mean, you got some guys that coming back now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, and it's kind of hard to turn them guys down. So we're over a couple on our scholarships, but we do have a couple walk-ons that we could take back if we had to, to get where we need to be in August. But yeah, we're definitely over. But it's pretty exciting, man. First of all, I just think it says a lot about Clemson. It says a lot about our program, our culture. I mean, these are 7 starters. I mean, Will Putnam coming back for a COVID 5th year. Xavier Thomas, Maskell coming back for a COVID 6th year. Rook and Tyler Davis coming back for 5th years. I mean, these guys are all definite draft picks. Sheridan Jones coming back for a COVID 5th year. Jalen Phillips coming back for a COVID 5th year. It's exciting. I mean, it really is to know you got 6 starters back on defense that are old and have been around. And then, oh, by the way, you got Barrett and you got Trotter and you got Woodaz and you got Makuba and all these other guys, Nate, to go along with it. So I'm pumped up about it. It's I guess that was our portal guys this year. We'll take those guys, all day long.
All right. Starts March the 6th. April the 15th is the spring game. Oh, by the way, the biggest thing probably on the calendar is your son's wedding. That'll be happening. Probably Kathleen's more focused on that than anything else.
Oh, my gosh, yes. We got like a million things going on. I'm trying to, we got parties and showers and – we got, but where's people going to stay, all that stuff going on. But it's exciting, man. I mean, it's just a blessing. You pray, for your kids and we've prayed for their future spouses for years. And golly, man, for Mary Crosby, MC Spires, I mean, she's just beautiful inside and out. I've never had a niece, I don't even have a niece. I've had a couple goddaughters, but I've never had a niece. Me and my brothers had 7 boys, and there were 3 of us. And then Cass' 2 siblings that have kids. They had 2 boys each. So, I mean, I've never had girls, and so man, I am so excited to have a daughter-in-law. And not only that, for MC, she and Drew are just 2 great young people. They've been dating since their senior year in high school, and man, they're great examples to everyone. So it's awesome that's the next step. And I guess eventually I'll be a granddad, Papa Bo, whatever I'm gonna be. I don't know.
Don't put that kind of pressure on them now.
Hey man, I'm excited. So March 18th they're getting married, and right in the middle of spring practice there. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Let me tell you, when that first grandchild comes along, it's gonna be you're gonna be like right here. It's gonna be we're gonna be wrapped around. Hey, great to visit with you. Love what you're doing with the program. You know how much I appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
And I hope that all Clemson Nation appreciates you as much as I do.
Appreciate
we are blessed to have you.
You do
at
a great job. You
Thank
really
you.
do. Appreciate all that you do. Thanks, everybody.
All right, there you go. Head coach Dabo Sweeney. All right, so there's 2 hours and 47 minutes and still counting of Clemson football here for signing day 2023 here from the Reeves Center. Don't forget, now on Clemson Plus, you'll be able to watch the press conference. All right, so there's there's a look inside the new press area right there that Coach Sweeney was talking about. That's where the press conference will take place with not only Coach Sweeney, but also with Garrett Riley. So you'll get another opportunity to hear from both of them. That'll come up at 1:30 today. Free right here where you're watching this right now. You can watch it absolutely free from that standpoint. So still a few people in the building. All right, as we try to clear everything out here from the Reeves football complex here. Hope that you've had a good day with us here on the 1st of February. It's been good to be sitting back here at this desk and talking a little Clemson football. Looking forward to March 6th when it all spring practice begins. April 15th, spring game in Death Valley at 1 o'clock. Make sure that you are there to watch what will be the football team for 2023 here for our Clemson Tigers. For Rick Bagby, the entire staff, all right, that make this thing flow. They're the best in the business. I mean, we got a great staff that makes all this come together. All right, I'm Don Munson. All God's children say go Tigers. Thanks for being with us.
Go hold the trophy up tonight. It is time for that Saturday night swagger and shine. Y'all got it? All in on 3. 1, 2, 3. All in.
Before that at bat, I got up to the plate and I took one last peek at my dad just because I was like, I need this moment. Like, I don't even care if they have to wait. But
it's definitely a challenge for you to 10 other people. Then once it gets to you, like, you can't mess up. So it's kind of a lot of pressure.
So yeah, I came home in an orange onesie from the hospital with a tiger paw on my chest. And that's how I started my Clemson journey at 3 days old.
It's going to be up to us, to be honest. Like, we can go as far as we want to.
Phil to the next, I said, that's going in.
This was just great play from the team. And we switched the point of attack. Pipe plays a really good ball to Uzi. I'm like, okay.
One word could describe baseball for me, it'd be family. It's gone. Hawkins takes one the opposite.
Excellence is not something that you get to grab and hold on to. It's not something you actually attain. It's not a goal, right? It's a way of being.
We're here in St. Thomas enjoying each other, but most of all, ready to play hard and get some dubs.